A pleasant good evening from the friendly confines of Sunken Diamond as we welcome you to Stanford Baseball, where tonight the Cardinal hosts the Washington State Cougars in Pac-12 action. Washington State 16-11, Stanford 11-15. The Cougs tied for 6th in the standings. Stanford a game and a half back of Washington State, as Washington State has a 6-6 record. Stanford 4-5 in the league table. It's great to have you with us. Troy Clarity and Ben Ross taking you through this one. Stanford coming off of an intriguing and in some cases wild 3-game stretch. They went to Utah last weekend, won just 1 of 3, but they broke out the bats in a 13-5 win. Check that 13-6 win in 11 innings in the finale. Then they played 2 at Texas Tech, windy conditions in Lubbock. Stanford couldn't hold on to the lead in the 9th inning, lost in extras in game 1. Texas Tech went up to a 12-0 lead before Stanford came back, but eventually fell by 3 runs. So, Ben, it seems like good news, bad news for Stanford. Certainly when you look at it over the last 3 games, the good news is the bats hotter than they've ever been to this point in the season. The not so good news is the pitching has been up to snuff.
And perhaps Matt Scott is the man that can turn that around tonight. He's got terrific stuff. The numbers this year, probably not where he would want them to be with the 2-5 record, 4.43 ERA, but he leads the conference in strikeouts. He's got that swing and miss stuff. We saw a taste of it last year when he was a freshman. He's carried it forward now as a sophomore. And as you mentioned, the bats have been rolling. I think Matt Scott wants to take it on himself now tonight to give them a chance to go out and win against a really good pitcher for Washington State.
Oh, by the way, pitching duel tonight between Matt Scott and the reigning Pac-12 pitcher of the week in Grant Taylor, who just went absolutely bonkers on the Washington Huskies. More on that as we go along. Let's give you the starting batting order for Washington State. They bat .299 as a team. Leading off is Max Hartman. Jacob Morrow bats second. Alan Shibley in the 3 spot. Kaysen Taggart batting 4th. Joey Kramer in the 5 spot. Trey Cruz is the designated hitter, and he bats 6th. Cole Kramer batting 7th. Jack Weiss is batting 8th. And Crew Park rounds out the Coug batting order. Your lefties are Hartman, Shibley, Taggart, and Cruz. The head coach of the Washington State Cougars is Nathan Choate in his first year in Pullman. Defensively for Stanford, as the Cardinal get ready to take the field in the outfield from left to right, as the Cardinal take the field here on a gorgeous evening here on the farm. Luke Lavin, Court McDonald, and Brady Reynolds from left to right in the outfield. Around the horn, it's Timo Becerra. Trevor Haskins at short. Owen Cobb at second. Jimmy Natai at first. Malcolm Moore behind the plate. And on the mound for the Cardinal is the 6'7" sophomore out of Reading, Connecticut, Matt Scott. About to make his 8th appearance and start on the year. A 2-5 record and a 4.45 ERA. 40 2/3 innings pitched, 28 hits, 21 runs, 20 of them earned, 19 walks, a Pac-12 high, 56 strikeouts on the season. Opposing batters hitting .195 against Matt Scott, who has thrown 5 wild pitches and hit 3 batters. So a big start here for Matt Scott, who is looking for his first win since beating the Huskies back on March 8th. He's 0-3 in his last 3 starts.
And when you look at this Washington State lineup, they put up close to 7 runs per game. They do it with good averages really throughout the lineup as a team, batting .299 on the year. That's second in the Pac-12 behind only Oregon State. And so it's not an easy lineup to go through because you don't really have any weak spots. Maybe towards the bottom of the order is where you can really try and focus in if you need an out. But, you know, the top 6-7 guys in this lineup have all been hitting the ball very well this year. And so for Matt Scott, he's going to need to be sharp tonight. You mentioned those 19 walks. The ratio is still pretty good with 56 strikeouts. But I think at the same time, he'd like to lower that number even more. In about 40 innings, 19 walks, you know, you're up around 4.5 walks per 9. He would love to lower that a little bit more. And as you said, when he makes guys hit, they're only batting .199 against him. That's very, very good. He's obviously got great stuff and is tough to barrel up.
Yeah, fastball that goes up to around 95 or so, but can just absolutely make you look silly with a backdoor slider that can just absolutely befuddle you. And the number of walks, only 19 on the season, but it's not necessarily the number of walks. It's when those walks come. Sometimes they come with 2 out and they allow opponents to extend innings and they get runs that way. Sometimes they come right at the start of an inning. And other times they come in other big spots as well. So it's not exactly the fact that he's only walked 19 batters so far this year. It's when those walks have come that have kind of been an issue for Matt so far this season.
I also think as a pitcher, we've talked about how Grant Taylor is terrific as well on the mound for Washington State, but I think as a pitcher it gives you confidence when your lineup has been swinging the bats well the way that the Cardinal have. You know that you don't have to be perfect. Your lineup is going to put up some runs in most situations, and so you can be aggressive and attack these hitters.
Stanford is a team hitting .378 over the last 3 games. Can they carry that and improved pitching into this week? Let's all find out together. Max Hartman leading off for Washington State, a sophomore from St. Albert, Alberta, First pitch from the big righty Matt Scott. Rocks and deals. And away we go. Fastball inside corner, called strike 1. Card, Cougs. Away we go. Enjoy the game.
An easy 95 miles an hour with that first fastball. He's got that size you talked about, and the velocity comes quite simply for him.
Swing and a miss there. Hartman slashing .326, .474, .395 with no home runs and 12 RBI. Max with 11 multi-hit games entering this series. The 0-2. Popped up, not playable as it lands behind us and off to our left. Cougs hitting .299 as a team. That's second in the Pac-12 entering this week's business. Slugging .454 as a team. That's 5th in the league. On-base percentage of .385 as a team. That's 4th in the Pac-12. The 0-2 to Hartman. Swing and a miss. Foul tip into the glove. And Scott gets Hartman swinging.
I love the way that he just attacked all strikes, pounding the zone. And if you like dominant pitching and strikeouts, you're probably in for a treat tonight. You mentioned Matt Scott leading the conference in Ks. Grant Taylor on the other side is 3rd. So you've got a couple of really good swing and miss type pitchers.
Yeah, we'll tell you more about Grant Taylor once he hits the mound. You're not going to miss what he did last week, in case you're not aware. Jacob Morrow, the batter for the Cougs. Fastball gets the inside corner called for strike 1. Scott Latender, the home plate umpire. Kelly Gonzalez at first. Joe Maiden at second. And Michael Chuckerman at third. That's not a name I remember seeing a whole lot on the umpiring list here at Sunken Diamond. The other 3, yes indeed. Appeal over to Kelly Gonzalez at first. Morrow holds up. The count goes to 1-1. Jacobs, a senior from Warrenton, Oregon, a transfer from Lynn Benton Community College in Oregon. About to face the 1-1 from Scott as Moore sets up on the outside of the plate. Fastball falling off the table a little bit. And going down low, Morrow can't catch up with it. He's down to the count 1-2.
Yeah, that's the other thing about Matt Scott that's so tough. It's not just the velocity, but it's that fastball has some late movement just naturally. It's a challenge as a hitter.
1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch. Fouled off. Morrow hitting .250 with 2 home runs and 9 RBI on the day. On the season, rather. If he was doing that on the day, that would be pretty impressive stuff.
That'd be a record, probably.
Yeah, there'd be some records.
I think it was Kenny Mayne that used to say that on Sports Center. Not 20th home run, not in this game. That'd be a record.
Kenny Mayne was cool. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. There's that slider, and he gets Morrow looking. Back-to-back Ks start the day for Matt Scott.
And again, just throwing strikes in there. He was relying mostly on the fastball. He mixes in that slider, which he talked about at the top of the broadcast, so tough. He's also added a splitter this year, as if he wasn't already hard enough to hit. And a great start with a couple of strikeouts.
Brings up Alan Shibley, junior from Sapulpa, Oklahoma. That's just outside of Tulsa. Transfer from San Jacinto, CC. Swing and miss on the 94-mile-an-hour fastball for strike one to Shibley, who is hitting .269 with 1 home run and 2 driven in. Shibley missed most of last season with a shoulder injury. Played just 9 games last year. 0-1. That's a fastball that just misses outside. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Bit blustery out there right now with the sun setting behind the coastal foothills. Shadows getting longer. And the wind blowing appears out to center right now. 54 degrees at first pitch as well. 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Shibley.
Yeah, I'm seeing 14-mile-an-hour wind with gusts up to 26 miles an hour. That could definitely play a factor in this game.
Yeah, I think we're in gust mode right now.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Stanford played in very gusty conditions in Lubbock earlier this week. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch. Foul back to the screen. Shibley stays alive at 1-2. Very windy in Lubbock. Probably had an influence on some of the things that we saw with Stanford baseball earlier this week. Stanford, in a 2-game set, dropped them both. Lost the lead in the 9th inning in the first one. Valiant comeback in the second, but couldn't complete it. 1 ball, 2 strikes from Scott. And tries to go low on Shibley, and the count goes to 2-2.
That's a big series for both teams. I mean, you look at the Pac-12 standings. It's pretty tightly packed. I mentioned these teams currently in 6th and 8th place, but just a few games, a couple games out of first. Oregon at 6-3.
The 2-2 pitch. Shibley reaches out and rolls it towards the Washington State dugout. Calendar has turned to April, getting deeper and deeper into Pac-12 play. Games taking more and more importance as the season goes. Washington State finished 10th in the Pac-12 last year, 10-19. The 2-2 from Scott. Just misses inside, 3-2.
Well, to your point on Washington State, this is a team that was picked last in the preseason poll, and you talk about a first-year head coach, Nathan Choate. He's done a great job so far. Got them at 16-11, 6-6 in the Pac-12. They're surprising some people, I think.
Payoff pitch, skied, right field. Reynolds comes up in the shadows and makes the catch of the high fly ball to right to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down, Washington State 0. And Stanford coming to bat. Let's give you the Cardinal batting order, beginning with Owen Cobb, who is leading off for Stanford. Court McDonald in the 2 spot. Malcolm Moore in the 3 spot. Jimmy Natai batting cleanup. Luke Lavin has done quite well in the lineup. That's why he is batting 5th. Charlie Som with a couple of big home runs in Lubbock. That's why he's batting 6th and is also the designated hitter. Timo Becerra batting 7th. Trevor Haskins has been on fire of late. He's batting 8th. And Brady Reynolds rounds out the Stanford batting order. Your lefties are McDonald, Moore, Lavin, and Reynolds. Defensively, for Washington State, in the outfield from left to right, Kaysen Taggart, Alan Shibley, and Max Hartman. Around the horn, it's Cole Kramer at 3rd, Jack Weiss at short, Crew Park at 2nd, Joey Kramer at 1st, Jacob Morrow behind the plate, and on the mound for Washington State is the reigning Pac-12 pitcher of the week, Grant Taylor. He's a big guy too, 6'5", 228, a senior out of Murrieta, California. Taylor, a 2-1 record, about to make his 5th appearance and start of the year, an ERA of 3.20, 25 in the 3rd innings pitched, 22 hits, 10 runs, 9 of them earned, 34 strikeouts, 11 walks, opposing batters hitting .237 against Taylor. Why is he the current Pac-12 pitcher of the week, you ask? Let's tell you. Last week against the Washington Huskies, game 1 of that series over in Seattle, Grant threw a complete game, 1-hit shutout. No walks, 17 strikeouts. That's a new Washington State record that broke the old record set in 1988 by some guy named John Olerud. He struck out 10 batters in a row, and 15 of his strikeouts were swinging. That, my friends, is a dominant pitching night.
Is that all? And you're telling me that got him player of the week? Or pitcher of the week? Okay.
It would have been a close vote for me if I'd had one. Yeah.
Well, obviously, yeah, dominant doesn't even begin to describe that type of performance. And, you know, the numbers all year have been terrific with the 3.27 ERA. You mentioned, 47 strikeouts, just 16 walks. So the Cardinal will have their work cut out, no question about it. But that was a thing of art last week. And as we said, you got two pitchers tonight who both have great, overwhelming, dominant stuff. And it's going to be up to these lineups to find a way to battle.
Yeah, that's arguably one of the best pitched games in a Pac-12 game we've seen in a long, long time. First up for Cardinal is the grad student from Seattle, Owen Cobb. Looks at the first pitch down low and outside from Taylor for ball one. Cobb in the leadoff spot, batting .265. Has a .321 on base, .480 slugging percentage. That leads the team. A 1-0, lined right to Park at second.
Well, he put it in play, which is not always easy against Grant Taylor. And maybe that's a positive.
Well, hitting hasn't exactly been the issue for Stanford over the last few games.
Nope, not at all. As we've talked about, they've been producing.
Court McDonald leads the team with a .330 batting average. He's a sophomore from Arlington, Texas. Right between Dallas and Fort Worth. Curve, stays upstairs, misses upstairs. Grant Taylor hops around the mound as if to say, man, I think that ball slipped out of my hand a little bit. That's ball one. McDonald slugging .464, has an on-base percentage of .400 with 3 home runs. And tied for the team lead in RBI with 18. Sends this one foul. Twisting and bouncing behind the grassy knoll in left field. .335 down the lines, .375 to the alleys, .400 to straightaway center. Outfield fences are 8 feet high. The batter's eye and straightaway center, the flags on top, billowing boisterously. The 1-1. Fouled back. Hey, through the trees, I see the Stanford football team practicing on the practice fields across the way.
Football never stops, as you well know.
No, it doesn't.
I'm excited for the first year in the ACC.
Home opener August 30th. The 1-2 pitch to McDonald goes down, just fouls it off of Scott Latender's foot. Scott looks like he's okay. Maybe he's kind of trying to suck it up a little bit, gather himself a little bit. That's never pleasant.
Got to be tough as an umpire, too.
Yeah.
We talk about catchers all the time, but umpires will take their share of foul balls as well.
Just underway here at Sunken Diamond. Ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Scoreless, bottom first. The pitch from Taylor. Through the gap. And into right for a base hit.
That's a really nice at-bat. McDonald behind in the count, 2 strikes, and fouls a pitch off, a real tough pitch, and then just puts it in play to the right side. That's the type of at-bat that the Cardinal have been putting together, and against a tough pitcher, get that first hit out of the way early.
So already the Cardinal have as many base hits against Grant Taylor in 1/3 of an inning as the Huskies managed in the full 9. Malcolm Moore, the sophomore from Sacramento. Throw back over to first with McDonald 7 of 8 in the stolen base category. Moore slashing .223, .383, .511. Team high with 8 home runs. Tied for the team lead with 18 RBI. Curve stays upstairs for ball 1. So much expected of Malcolm Moore. Obviously, you're going to have expectations raised a bit when you are wearing the crown as the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. 1 ball and no strikes. Curve again. High strike not called. Count goes to 1-1.
Well, and I think it's also a different role this year for Malcolm Moore. I mean, You know, he joined a team last year with a lot of well-known offensive stars. And this year, he's the guy.
Offensive stars and leaders, too.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's one of the leaders in the clubhouse. Fouled off 2-1.
And that's impressive as just a sophomore. But he's taken on that role of leadership. And, yeah, you know, the average probably not where he wants it to be, but he's done a great job drawing a lot of walks. The on-base percentage at .383. The power numbers are still there with 8 home runs. And I think he'll continue to get that batting average up as the season goes on.
Also leads the team with 22 walks. The 2-1 takes this one outside, 3-1.
And there's a great look at that eye he's got. And, again, that's a pitcher's pitch, and when you're ahead in the count 2-1, you don't have to swing at it. Even if it's called a strike, you're okay. But now he's really in the driver's seat at 3-1.
Runner going. Swing and a miss. Throw to second. Got him. Terrific throw from behind the dish by Jacob Morrow. And McDonald erased at second.
That was a great throw. And Malcolm Moore at the plate leads the conference with 12 runners caught stealing defensively. He knows a thing or two about great throws down. But credit to Morrow, not just on the money, but the quick pop time, the release. And obviously a big second out.
Fouled off. Yeah, once Morrow popped up and let the ball go, and once you saw where McDonald was in relation to second base, the Stanford party says, uh-oh.
And that's just the second time McDonald's been caught this year. He's now 7 for 9, so he's a speedy runner, good base stealer.
3 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch just misses inside and perhaps a bit low as well. So Moore walks for the 23rd time this season. And our first chance to hear men at work. Jimmy Natai, the young man from Sydney, Australia, steps up to the plate. Natai, the sophomore, slashing .294, .381, .441. Leads Stanford in doubles with 10. Has also been hit by a team high 6 pitches. I was going to do a weather comparison. Right now, officially 53 degrees at Stanford. Meanwhile, cloudy and 40 officially in Pullman. Probably feels about the same, quite honestly. First pitch to Natai goes high for ball 1. Taylor has yet to issue a first pitch strike in the first 4 batters that he has faced.
And credit to the Stanford hitters for not chasing early in the count either.
Fouled, and this landing in around the 3rd row. Heads up down there. Count goes to 1-1. Taylor, last week, we gave you the nitty-gritty on what he did against the Huskies. We forgot to mention that, oh, by the way, he won a couple of National Player of the Week honors, as he won awards from the NBCWA and Perfect Game as well. But he also did it on 115 pitches, so pretty efficient. The 1-1. Slider, swing and a miss, 1-2.
But that's a good point. Efficient, but it's also a lot of pitches. And so let's see how he bounces back today. If there's any lingering effect or a little bit of fatigue, he has had full week to get past that. But we'll see as the game goes on.
More running, popped up, out of play.
I think Malcolm Moore got a good jump there.
A little bit.
About halfway to second before the ball came home.
He was halfway to Los Altos.
That's just a good job of base running. He obviously reading the pitcher well, and if you can get that big of a lead, go ahead. Now, it doesn't work out there because Natai with 2 strikes has to swing, but still good base running.
Moore stays put. Swing and a miss as Natai is crossed up, and the side is retired. Scoreless here at Sunken after the first inning. Thank you for spending part of your Friday evening here with us on Stanford Live Stream. Cardinal and the Cougs meeting in baseball here at Sunken Diamond. Scoreless as we begin the second. Kason Taggart leading off for Washington State. He's a junior from Everett, Washington. Taggart slashing 311, 370, 461. 2 home runs, 9 RBI. 17 pitches for Matt Scott in the first inning. Pitch number 18 is a swing and a miss. And much of the first inning looked exactly like that. A couple of strikeouts for Scott to begin.
17 pitches, as you said, in that first inning, 13 strikes. And again, continuing to attack the zone early here.
93 right down Palm Drive. Taggart down 0-2. Not a bad Washington State debut for Kaysen. In the season opener at Utah Tech, February 16th, he went 3 for 5 with a 2-run homer and an RBI single. Good way to make a first impression. Tries a fastball inside, misses, 1-2. Nathan Choate, the head coach of Washington State, in his first year. Scott deals the 1-2, and this is low and away. 2-2. Nathan coming to Pullman from Loyola Marymount, was the head coach of the Lions for 4 seasons previous to this one. Wrapped up with a West Coast Conference Coach of the Year award for him last year. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Taggart. Third strikeout of the evening for Scott.
Choate did such a great job at LMU. You mentioned the Coach of the Year last year, led him to a West Coast Conference title. I think that was a really good hire for Washington State. And as we mentioned earlier, they've done a nice job this year. I think surprising some people. They were projected last, or in the preseason poll, they were picked last in the Pac-12. But off to a pretty good start, 6-6, 500 ball, 16-11 overall.
Swept Arizona State a couple weeks ago up in Pullman. As it's ball 1 to Joey Kramer. Kramer, a senior from here in the Bay Area, Rohnert Park, California, transferred from CSUN. A 1-0 from Scott, swing and a miss. As that one had a little English on it, but it still went 94. 1 ball and 1 strike. Joey Kramer, slashing 373, 443, 510, with 1 home run and 18 RBI. The pitch. And that one goes into the dirt, 2-1. You know, it occurs to me, the statistics I gave for the first 3 Washington State batters, strike those because I was reading off the conference statistics. Let me start giving you the overall stats from here on out. Come on, Clarity. 2-1, swing and a miss, 2-2.
Hey, conference play is even more important.
It is. It is. Doesn't give you the whole picture, though.
Gives you part of the picture.
I'm into context.
Yes.
2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out. Smack to right center. Long way to go. But McDonald able to make the grab. Court McDonald has the ball. 2 outs in the top second.
So nice to have that type of speed as a center fielder. He got a good read on it, and I thought he might have to lay out head first, but he got there in time and made a nice sliding catch.
Brings up Trey Cruz, the designated hitter, a junior from Pearl River, New York. Transferred from Hartford. CC looks at the first pitch strike from Scott. Cruz hitting .227 with 1 home run and 7 RBI. The pitch outside. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, that's Hartford Community College. Not Hartford, not Harvard, Hartford. A 1-1. Fastball, swing and a miss, 1-2.
Gets a little confusing, especially when you throw in some East Coast accents, I bet.
Sure. Hartford. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball, got him looking. Matt Scott is in control, his 4th strikeout of the evening through 2 innings pitched. Bottom second coming up from Sunken in just a moment. Scoreless between Stanford and Washington State. The 5, 6, 7 batters due up for Stanford. Bottom second, scoreless between Stanford and Washington State. We begin with Luke Lavin, a freshman from Laguna Beach. The lefty standing in. And Luke has done quite well for himself of late. Right now, overall this season, hitting .263, no home runs and 4 RBI. First pitch from Grant Taylor. 89-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle for a called strike 1. Wind now blowing from right to left. Hit to center field. Shibley ranges over to his left. Goes back a few steps as well. Makes the catch shy of the warning track for 1 away. I have a feeling that unless balls go out to left, they're not going to go very far if they're hitting the air.
Yeah, that one certainly got knocked down, and it's been interesting watching the flags out there in center field because the wind's been changing direction, but I think you're right. For the most part, blowing out toward left, in from center and right. So we'll see if that continues or if it changes again as the game goes on.
Well, Charlie Soms caught a couple of late as he swings and misses at the first pitch that he sees from Taylor for strike 1. Sama Jr. from Thousand Oaks. .269, 4 home runs and 9 RBI. He homered twice coming off the bench against Texas Tech on Tuesday. Might have been thinking about those home runs as he just barely gets a piece of it on that mighty cut, and he's down 0-2. Sama also with a pinch hit home run against USC last month. Nothing in 2, and the pitch on the way. Take something off of it. Blocked well by Morrow, but no one on the base path, so no harm done.
I always wonder if hitters consider swinging it at a real bad pitch on with 2 strikes in the dirt, hoping that it'll get past the catcher. I would think probably not. But that's where my mind goes as a subpar hitter. Well, trying to find my way on base.
Well, and also as a Renaissance man, you know, and as someone who's not afraid to try new things. Well, I just saw this today. Was it the quote from Ben Franklin? I didn't fail the test. I just found 99 different ways to do it.
Yes, that's right. I like that.
I'm paraphrasing there. I think the actual quote is much better than that. But I think you catch the drift.
I'm getting the gist. Different doesn't have to be wrong.
That's right. The 2-2 from Taylor. Soms worked the count full.
Good at bat. Fell behind. Again, you're going against a strikeout pitcher. A couple good takes. Worked the count full.
The 3-2 pitch. Down low. Som coaxes a walk.
Interesting to see him go with the breaking ball there on 3-2, and a good job by Som to lay off. That's a real good at bat.
Second walk by Taylor so far tonight. Again, remember, he didn't walk anybody last week against the Huskies and went the distance. Timo Becerra, the junior from Clovis, California, just outside of Fresno. He's at the plate right now. Becerra slashing .313, .370. .344, no home runs and 9 driven in. That's a fastball, outside corner called. Nothing in 1. Taylor ready. Fires back to first, relatively close, but Som able to get back there. Som not necessarily a threat. He's only tried to steal 1 base so far this year and was not successful. No balls, 1 strike.
Taylor's got a pretty good move over there, some not taking a huge lead, but still caught a little bit off balance.
Taylor's also looking directly into the sun when he's making those throws back over to first. 0-1. And Morrow up with it, but Som's safe back at first. Count goes to 1-1. Shadows lengthening here at Sunken Diamond. Center field, right field in shadow. Infield is in the sun for now. The 1-1. Another throw back over to first. Hey, remember when it was 75 degrees? And the weather? Oh, wait, that was what, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Gorgeous weather here early this week, but man, did it take a turn.
I think it's going to get nice again next week.
Good.
Back into the 70s. We like that. You're keeping a close eye on Charlie.
Yeah. With 1 out.
I think there was the sun coming into play on the throw back.
Yeah.
It's funny because we talk about it a lot of the time when it comes to pop-ups, but, man, this time of night, infield throws can be tricky. I'm always reminded of Coors Field where the first baseman has to look into the sun.
Pitch out. Som dives back over to first. Count goes to 2-1.
So they throw the pitch out 1-1. Maybe if you're Stanford, do you go with a little hit and run now? Interesting that they're keeping a very close eye on Som.
Becerra reaches out, sends a fly ball to right. Hartman ranges over and makes the grab. So a couple of flyouts, one by Lavin and now one by Becerra. Sandwiching a walk by Som. Brings up Trevor Haskins, Jr. from San Jose. Slashing 272, 320, and 457. Has 2 home runs and 15 RBI on the season. Has struck out a team-high 24 times. But Haskins enters this series on a 5-game hit streak and hit for the cycle against Texas Tech on Tuesday. Blocked. Morrow able to retrieve it before Som can think about going anywhere.
That's a great block. Good footwork. But yeah, how about Trevor Haskins hitting for the cycle? I think it's been 13 years for a Stanford player to do that.
2011. High. 2 balls and no strikes to Haskins, who had an RBI triple in the top of the 5th, singled in the top of the 7th, doubled in the top of the 8th, and homered in the top of the 9th against Texas Tech on Tuesday. So all 4 of those hits coming in the second half of the game. Haskins thinks about it, goes around, 2-1. One of the many remarkable things to come out of that 15-12 result on Tuesday that unfortunately was taken by the Red Raiders. Off the fists to right field, Hartman makes the grab, and around the same spot, he made the catch on Timo Becerra's fly ball, and the side is retired. Card leave 1 on, no score after 2 here at Sunken Diamond. On a chilly Friday evening here on the farm, Stanford and Washington State knotted at 0 here in Pac-12 baseball action. Great to have you with us here on the Stanford live stream. I'm Troy Clarity. He's Ben Ross. Ben will take you through the 3rd and the 4th.
All right, thank you, Troy. Got a good one going early on here between the Cougars and the Cardinal. Washington State, no runs, no hits, no errors. Stanford, no runs, 1 hit. And no errors, 2 runners left on base as we head to the 3rd. It'll be the 7, 8, 9 hitters for Washington State. Cole Kramer, Jack Wise, and Crew Park going against Matt Scott, who has been outstanding in his first 2 innings. 4 strikeouts, has not allowed a base runner. And a first pitch pop up into foul territory. Long run for Nadi, and it gets out of play. Cole Kramer leading the team with a .373 batting average. That's 5th best in the Pac-12. A home run, 18 runs batted in for the junior. Pitch number 33 coming for Matt Scott. 1-1.
Continuing my statistical faux pas this evening after giving conference stats instead of overall stats for the Washington State batters earlier in this game. When I was giving you Kramer's numbers earlier, Joey Kramer's, I gave you Cole Kramer's numbers instead.
That's an understandable one. As a chopper to short, and a strong throw across the diamond from Haskins, one away.
There's a Kramer versus Kramer joke out there somewhere.
Still looking for it.
Yeah, I might think of something.
Now, these are different spelled
Yes.
Kramers. You
Yes.
got Joey Kramer with a K, Cole Kramer with a C. I don't know if that changes anything with the joke. Probably not.
Probably not.
Here's Jack Wise, number 8 hitter. Junior shortstop making just the second start of the year, 1 for 10 on the season. A couple of runs scored. And he slices the first ball foul and over toward the Cardinal dugout. Another first pitch strike from Matt Scott.
By my count, 7 of the first 8 batters that he has faced.
Oh, 1 pitch. Foul tip, 0-2.
And again, I've had rotten luck with numbers so far in this game, so who knows what the real number is.
Well, I know Wise is a Reno kid, went to Bishop Minogue High School. Good athletic program there. I worked up in Reno for a few years covering sports.
About to say, that's your old stomping grounds, right?
Here's the 0-2. Slow roller to third. Becerra in time. 2 up, 2 down. Matt Scott rolling along early on. He's retired the first 8 batters. And now here is the second baseman at Crew Park.
Scott's getting some help from his defense here in this inning, this half inning so far. Kind of spreading the wealth a little bit after striking out 4 of the first 6 batters that he faced. Now letting his defense get into the act.
Park steps in, hitting .253 on the year. And another first pitch strike, fastball at 95. Park, no home runs, 4 doubles, 19 runs batted in. Senior from Mesa, Arizona. And it's quickly 0-2.
Park's been dangerous and productive of late. RBI in 8 of his last 9 games entering this series.
The 0-2 from Scott. Pop up behind first base. Who's going to take it? It's Owen Cobb to make the catch. And another 1-2-3 inning for Matt Scott. He's retired the first 9 Cougars. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. No score from Klein Field. We head to the bottom of the 3rd inning from Sunken Diamond. No score. Stanford and Washington State opening a 3-game series. Ben Ross and Troy Clarity with you tonight. Thanks for tuning in. As Brady Reynolds will lead things off for the Cardinals. Sends one deep to right. Long run for Hartman. All the way to the wall, and it's off the glove. Around second is Reynolds. He's going to try for third. The relay is in time to get him. Oh, it's a close play, and I think Stanford is going to want to take another look at it. They had a lot going on that play, and the umpires are going to come together now. This is a big call.
Boy, and Hartman had the hustle. The good news for him was that the ball didn't go too far after it kissed off of his glove. So he was able to recover and get the ball quickly, with Reynolds hustling around and trying to get into third safely. Good relay throw. Close play. Called out. We'll see if it stands.
It was a very close play at third. And third base umpire is Michael Chukerman, who made the call. And we'll see a aggressive base running there from Reynolds. You obviously don't want to make the first out at third base, but at the same time, you're going against a tough pitcher in Grant Taylor. You see an opportunity to grab an extra 90 feet, I don't mind it. And now we'll see if there's enough to overturn this call.
And if this game was being played during the daytime, temperature is about 75 or so, that ball's out of here.
Yeah.
Off the bat of Reynolds. But 53 degrees, a bit blustery, wind blowing out to left and out to center.
Yeah.
It's kind of fighting a bit of a headwind there.
Yeah, came close to a second home run, gave it a long ride into that right field corner. It was a long run for Hartman. Be interesting to see how they score this. They're calling it an error right now. So, again, we'll see what the call is after review, but still just in the third inning when you got two pitchers who have been sharp. This becomes a big decision, especially with the top of the order coming up for Stanford.
Yeah, the ball, I believe, just hit the heel of Hartman's glove. It wasn't like he dove for it and missed or anything like that. It was a ball that he should have had, in all likelihood.
Yeah, it was a long run, but he got there.
Yeah.
And as you said, it just caromed off the glove. Umpires have their decision, and the call remains out. So that is a nice recovery by Hartman and Wright. After he makes the error, he chased it down, and a solid relay from the Cougars to get Reynolds trying for third.
Yep. Can't fault Reynolds for that one. Just tip of the cap to the Cougs. 9-6-5 on the putout.
So one away in the bottom of the third, back to the top of the order for Owen Cobb, who lined out softly to second base his first time up tonight. Cobb batting .262 on the year, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs, and takes a breaking ball up high.
So one time through the order, by my count, 3 first pitch strikes dealt by Taylor. And just 1 strikeout, 2 walks.
That's in there for a strike.
It took him 37 pitches to get through the order one time.
Hasn't been quite as easy as it has been for Matt Scott, or at least as efficient. But he's getting the job done. He's matched him 0 for 0 thus far. And now ahead in the count 1-2.
Well, that being said, I was kind of surprised to see this when I checked it at the end of the last half inning. Matt's actually thrown 40 pitches so far, which surprised me a bit.
Sometimes the strikeouts can drive up that number a bit.
Yeah, there is that.
But still on a good pace, as that one is popped up to shallow center. Shibley camped under it and makes the catch for out number 2. So that'll bring up Court McDonald, who's got the only hit in this game so far. He had a single in the first inning, batting .337 with 3 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Best batting average on the team for the Cardinal this year. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it back. McDonald, sophomore out of Arlington, Texas.
Right between Dallas and Fort Worth.
One hopper to short. Nice snag by Wise. And just does get McDonald. So, Stanford goes down in order. They had the error, but Reynolds thrown out at third. And The pitching duel continues. Through 3, we're scoreless on the farm. No score as we head to the top of the 4th inning. Stanford and Washington State opening a 3-game series tonight at Klein Field. And the top of the order for the Cougars, Max Hartman, Jacob Morrow, and Alan Shibley, trying to solve Matt Scott, who's retired the first 9 he's faced tonight. First pitch, another strike on the inner half.
9 first pitch strikes and 10 batters faced now.
And 31 strikes tonight, just 10 balls. So Scott has been locked in. Here's his 0-1. Just off the outside corner, ball and a strike.
Yeah, just trying to dabble there a little bit. You've seen him try to paint corners at times. Sometimes he's gotten the call from Scott Latender. Other times, not quite so much.
The 1-1. Foul tip, 1-2. Well, Hartman was one of the 4 strikeout victims the first time through the order. Batting .343, no home runs, 27 runs batted in. Tied for the team lead in RBIs with Kason Taggart. 2-2. Hartman does have 7 doubles this year. 2-2. And a foul. Stanford has won 6 in a row against Washington State. And they've won 19 of the last 20. It's been a dominant stretch for the Cardinal. They've won 12 straight series against the Cougars. It's been since 2010 since Washington State won a series against Stanford. 2-2. And didn't hit anything, I guess, all the way to the backstop, 3-2. Cardinal have also won 8 in a row at home against Washington State. Cougars' last win in this ballpark, 2016. Payoff pitch to Hartman. And it swung on and missed. Strikeout number 5 for Matt Scott.
Well, when in doubt, if you're Matt Scott, bring the heat. And he did, but that had a bit of a break to it as well. And Hartman just couldn't catch up with it. That was masterful pitching and a great out pitch by Scott.
Climbing the ladder at 95 miles an hour. It's always interesting to watch pitchers go through the lineup a second time, and then if they stick around a third. Obviously, hitters have a bit of an advantage the more they see a pitcher. Some pitchers will try and save some of their best stuff for the second or third time through, or at least their secondary pitches, as that's a called strike. Morrow struck out in the first inning. He was caught looking. Batting .333, 3 homers, 13 RBIs. Oh, 0-2.
Well, I was about to say that Matt's fastball to this point has been his strikeout pitch. He did get Morrow, check that, I believe Cruz rather, on a slider to strike him out earlier. Changed up speeds on that last pitch. Let's see if he continues to do it as we go along here.
Good 2-strike pitch, good take by Morrow. And the count now 1-2.
Scott, by and large, has pitched well this season. Looking for his first win in almost a month.
And that's fouled away.
Between Scott and Christian Lim has been next to money the last month, 5-6 weeks or so. Between those two, you've got a pretty good anchor for your starting rotation there at the start.
No question. Christian Lim will get the ball tomorrow. 2:05 first pitch. As the count now even 2-2. He'll be countered by Connor Wilford, right-hander for Washington State. And then on Sunday, the finale, Nick Dugan for the Cardinals, Spencer Jones. I think I might have made did I make a stat foul now? I'll double check that. As that's chopped to short. Haskins, wide throw, and it takes Nadai off the bag. And so that'll be an error in the first base runner tonight for Washington State.
Yeah, that ball just sailed on Haskins high and wide. Nadai tried to do all he could, but just couldn't keep that foot on the bag. Are you questioning whether Spencer Jones is really
questioning the pitchers? No, I got it right. Okay.
Yeah, you got it right. Yeah.
So it will be Spencer Jones and Nick Dugan on Sunday.
Yes, it's not that Spencer Jones from Stanford men's basketball.
That would be something.
That would be a story. He's graduated. He's not in the portal.
No more eligibility?
No.
Well, here's the number 3 hitter, Alan Shibley, and it's a called strike. So an opportunity here for Washington State, a one-out base runner on the error. And Shibley, 0 for 1 tonight, flied out in the first inning, hitting .278 on the year. Check swing. He was able to hold up. 1-1. Shibley, 4 home runs, a triple, 6 doubles. 10 runs batted in. Redshirt junior from Oklahoma. And a throw to first. Morrow has not attempted a stolen base this year.
Cougs 27 of 39 in that category so far this season.
Good fastball at 95. Got in, tied up Shibley a bit, and it's 1-2.
It just rides in on your fists, and by the time you figure it out, your bat's already broken the plane. There's nothing you can do about it.
1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 6 for Matt Scott. So going to the stretch didn't bother him one bit. At least that first at bat with a runner on. And now the cleanup hitter, Kason Taggart. Taggart struck out in the second inning. He's 0 for 1. .317 batting average. Tied for the team lead with 6 home runs, along with Joey Kramer. Another fastball swung on and missed.
Yeah, that fastball stayed consistently around 94, 95 all evening so far.
It's been effective. He's gotten a lot of swing and miss tonight. One and one. And as you talked about, Troy, a lot of first pitch strikes. Just about every pitcher will tell you there's not much more important than getting ahead in counts. And strike one is a crucial pitch. Here's the 1-1. Another swing and a miss on the fastball.
That one was humming. By the way, Scott has now dealt first pitch strikes to the last 8 batters that he has faced. First time he's gone 96 so far this evening, by the way.
Dialed it up an extra MPH. See where he goes on 1 and 2. A late jump to second base and easily thrown out is Morrow. Maybe trying to catch the Cardinal off guard, but Malcolm Moore having none of it. His 13th runner caught stealing this year, and that ends the inning. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. Stanford and Washington State still scoreless. Bottom of the fourth inning at Sunken Diamond. Stanford and Washington State scoreless. It'll be the heart of the order coming up for the Cardinal. 3, 4, and 5. Malcolm Moore, Jimmy Nadai, Luke Lavin to face the big right-hander Grant Taylor. Back out for his fourth inning of work. Just one hit allowed tonight. 2 walks, 1 strikeout. Coming off that incredible 17 strikeout performance last time out at Washington. And first pitch foul ball for Malcolm Moore.
Taylor actually pitched pretty well here in this building 2 years ago, March 25th of 2022. Got the start through 6 innings, a couple earned runs, struck out 6, but did not factor in the decision.
Moore walked his first time up tonight. Takes the ball there, 1-1.
So Taylor with experience in this building. He is a senior. One of the few who've been in this program for more than a couple of years.
Oh, 91 miles an hour, but fortunately Moore appears to be all right. Jogs down to first base.
Yeah, I think it hit the meaty part of his shoulder. Hopefully so.
Well, he's on base for the second time tonight. We talked about how despite the low batting average, he's got a high on-base percentage, and it's due to the walks and now the hit by pitch.
Yep.
So a leadoff base runner for the Cardinal, and now the cleanup hitter Jimmy Nadai, who was a strikeout victim in the first inning. Nadai batting .291, a home run, 13 runs driven in. Throw to first. Moore dives back safely. Or did he? Are they going to call a balk on this pitch or on this pickoff attempt? I'm guessing it was, because down to second goes Moore. So Stanford, all of a sudden, with the runner in scoring position, still nobody out in the inning. And now let's see how they approach this. Third baseman Kramer on the cut of the grass, maybe anticipating a bunt here. No sign of it there, and it's a fastball high. It's the 7th hit batter, by the way, for Grant Taylor this year. In there, 1-1.
Just the second time that Stanford has gotten a batter in scoring position. If you want to count Brady Reynolds, who got to second but was thrown out at third on that error in right field, then it's 3.
The 1-1. Tapper foul, 1-2. So Nadai, the sophomore from Sydney, Australia, trying to put the Cardinal in front, or at the very least find a way to move Malcolm Moore up to third. See if he can battle here behind in the count against a strikeout pitcher. He went down swinging in the first. The 1-2. In the air, shallow left center field. Taggart makes the catch, and nowhere for Moore to go. He'll have to stay put at second base. That's going to bring up Luke Lavin. Lavin flied out to right field in the second inning. He's batting .256 on the year. No home runs, 4 RBIs. Freshman from Laguna Beach. Left-hand hitter steps in and drives the first one to right. Charging in is Hartman, and he makes the catch. I think Hartman took a step back off the bat, and that ball wasn't hit as well as he thought, and he was able to get in there and catch it. Two out.
Yeah, and there was no way in the world that Moore was going to test that arm from Max Hartman, certainly not at that position where Hartman was on the field. Not quite shallow right field, but certainly not deep enough for Moore to give it a go.
So here's Charlie Somm, the number 6 hitter. He walked his first time up. 269 hitter with 4 home runs, 9 runs batted in. And that's a good block by Morrow. He's made a couple of those tonight.
Gotta admit, this is a pretty clean uniform clash and combination here tonight. Stanford, of course, in their classic and clean home whites. Cougs breaking out the anthracites for the evening.
I like it. I'm with you. 1-0 pitch. Down the left field line. This could be trouble. It's going to get to the wall, and here comes Moore to the plate. Somm stumbled around first base, and he's going to have to stay put with a single. But it does put Stanford on the board. They're up 1-0. Well, that's one where you'll probably get ribbed in the dugout after this inning, but he'll take the RBI.
He'll take the ribbing, and he'll take the ribby as well. And Somm, coming off his performance in Lubbock earlier this week, continues to come up in big situations. Now driving in a run and allowing Stanford to cash in after Moore got hit by a pitch to lead off the half inning.
Just the second hit of the game, both belonging to Stanford. And Timo Becerra takes a strike.
And Somm in the lineup now. And look, David Esker is looking for combinations. You know, he's trying to find hot hands. Somm, certainly one. Lavin, certainly another. And those guys are being rewarded with spots in the batting order.
Throw to first. Somm is back. Yeah, Somm, just 27 at-bats this year. That was his 8th hit. He's got 4 home runs, as we mentioned, 2 coming last game. He has been terrific in limited action, and as you said, now in the starting lineup, as it's 0-2 on Becerra.
You know, David Esker still tinkering, still trying to find the right combination of guys out there.
Taylor ahead in the count, 0-2. And dancing around at first base was Somm. He sort of broke towards second, then stopped and scrambled back to first. Pitch was high. It's 1-2.
Of course, maybe right now the real key for the Cardinals is whether Thomas Eager and the pitching staff can find the right combination in the bullpen.
Good block, but Somm takes off towards second. Throw is in time. Wow. Nicely done behind the plate by Jacob Morrow. And that will end the inning. Stanford scores a run to get on the board, and they lead it 1-0 at the end of 4. Stanford leading Washington State 1-0 as we head to the 5th inning. And once again with the play-by-play, Troy Clarity.
Thank you, Ben. An RBI single by Charlie Somm. The difference so far in this one. Matt Scott hoping to keep it a 1-0 game by the time the middle of the 5th rolls around. Meat of the order for the Cougs, Kaysen Taggart, who was at the plate when Jacob Morrow was caught stealing at second to end the top half of the 4th, will complete his plate appearance here. Taggart struck out to begin the 2nd inning. After that, it's Joey Kramer, and then the designated hitter, Trey Cruz. Righty versus lefty. Lefty swings and misses. 0-1 to Taggart. Taggart, Everett High School in Everett, Washington. About 30 miles north of Seattle or so. The 0-1. Fouled back, 0-2. Cougs tied for 6th in the Pac-12 with Arizona State. Entering today's action, Stanford a game and a half back of both the Sun Devils and the Cougs entering today. The 0-2 from Scott. High, 1-2. Speaking of Arizona State, scoring Corvallis. Bottom of the 5th, the Beavers lead the Sun Devils 7-5. Ho-hum, Travis Pisana just hit another leadoff home run for the Beavs tonight. That dude has been out of his mind. Got him. Matt Scott has been pitching lights out tonight. Strikeout number 7.
And again, it's the old number 1 at 94 miles an hour. Yeah, Bazana's been out of his mind. Matt Scott has been out of his mind as well tonight. But going back to Oregon State, their offensive numbers this year, and Bazana in particular, have been incredible. It is just about a daily occurrence that he goes yard. I think that was his 17th home run of the year tonight.
Joey Kramer looks at the first pitch down low for ball 1. Kramer hit to center field, but Court McDonald made the reaching running grab back in the 2nd inning. 1 ball and no strikes. Popped up. Slicing, could be playable, coming down, trying to find it. It lands behind Becerra. So after all that, it's only strike 1.
Well, we've talked about the wind, and it's tough in general on those foul balls that are near the dugout. They often come back at the last moment, and especially when the wind is swirling the way that it is tonight. That's never an easy play, but certainly I'm sure one that Becerra would like another shot at.
A 1-1 to Kramer. Low one outside, 2-1. Yeah, Travis Bazana has been bananas for the Beavers this season, putting up a kind of year that I'm not quite sure we've seen on an individual level in the Pac-12 in quite a while anyway. Count now 3-1 on Kramer. Elsewhere in the Pac-12, Cal leading Arizona 1-0, bottom of the 6th. Arizona comes here on Monday, by the way, for a one-off, a non-conference game. I need to get to the bottom of that. Why that's happening.
They're in the area.
I guess.
But you're right. you don't often see that with a conference opponent in a non-conference setting.
First walk issued by Scott. It comes in the top of the 5th inning as Kramer takes first base. Brings up Trey Cruz, the DH, who struck out looking to end the 2nd inning. And I need to get to the bottom of why that scheduled out the way that it did. Stanford does head down to Arizona the first weekend in May. All of those games will count in conference play. Not the one on Monday at noon. Fastball high, ball 1 to Cruz. Elsewhere around the Pac-12, Washington State on top of USC 1-0. Down in Irvine in the top of the 4th inning. A reminder that Dado Field under renovation, so USC playing most of their home games down in Irvine this season. Slider inside, 2-0 to Cruz. I believe those renovations at Dado are going to carry into next year as well, into the 2025 season. Count 3-0 on Cruz. But then again, Stanford's not playing USC next year, so what do I care?
Yeah, I mean, it's just ACC against Big Ten. No connection there.
Nope. The 3-0. And that hits him. And the Cougs might have something cooking while Thomas Eager's looking at David Esker in front of the Stanford dugout. And Eager's going to go out and chat with Matt. As Scott with a walk and now a hit batter. And suddenly Washington State might be trying to get something going here with 1 out in the top half of the 5th.
Yeah, all of a sudden Scott has lost his command, and it might be something as simple as release point or some other technical issue they're seeing. But again, you mentioned he hadn't walked anybody before this inning. 7 strikeouts. And we'll see if he can make an adjustment here with 2 on. Still no action in the Cardinal bullpen.
Nope. Meanwhile, also in Pac-12 action today, they're through 1 inning in Westwood, and Oregon and UCLA scoreless there. Non-conference action, I believe this was a 10 a.m. first pitch in Salt Lake City. Utah able to beat CSUN 14-10. Utah, of course, plays in the minor league ballpark in Salt Lake City. And so that means they have to have some funky first pitch times because they do share that park with the AAA team in Salt Lake. I know they're trying to get their own facility on campus there at the University of Utah. I'm not quite exactly sure where that stands as of this point, but that would certainly help that program out a lot. Then again, they're going to the Big 12 next year, so what do I care?
Don't worry, I'm not going to share my thoughts on another team sharing a AAA ballpark next year.
Won't ask. Cole Kramer grounded to short to begin the third. There's a first pitch strike dealt to Kramer.
Well, that's encouraging for Scott, getting back to the first pitch strike after the walk and the hit batter. This becomes a big at bat in this game. First real opportunity for the Cougars to get on the board.
Swing and a miss. 0-2. After Scott had retired the first 10 batters that he had faced before Morrow reached on a throwing error by shortstop Trevor Haskins. That was in the fourth. We're in the fifth. No balls and 2 strikes to Cole Kramer. And that misses low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kramer, one of a couple of transfers to Washington State from Lynn Benton Community College. Moore setting up on the outside of the plate. And the 1-2. Just misses. 2-2.
It's a good 2-strike pitch from Scott. And a terrific take from Kramer.
Time called. With 2 on and 1 out. Kramer at second. And I believe home plate umpire Scott Latender is telling the Stanford dugout and maybe warning Stanford about a potential pitch clock violation.
Yep, I think that's what it was. That was a warning. Next one would be a ball.
Cole Kramer, or Joey Kramer checked that at second. Trey Cruz at first. Cole Kramer at the plate. Facing the 2-2. Now 3-2.
I think Scott just tried to overthrow that fastball a little bit right there. Now 3-2. He's got it's tough. You got a lot of adrenaline flowing, but you got to stay within yourself. Not overthrow it. Just make your pitch.
The 3-2 pitch. Skied. Playable. Left field. Lavin a long way to go, but able to locate it. And makes the grab for out number 2.
It's a great job by Scott. Big out for him.
And that ball took forever to come down. I mean, Lavin was shaded more towards left center, almost standing in front of the Stanford logo in the left center field, in the left center gap, but able to get over there in time to make the out.
Yeah, I think a good thing for Stanford it was hit so high because, as you said, Lavin had a long way to go. And he got there in plenty of time.
Jack Wise grounded to third, back in the third. Fastball down low for ball 1. Jack with just 1 base hit so far this season. That came against Texas State back on February 25th. The 1-0. Perhaps missed a bit high, 2-0.
Here's some chirping from the Cardinal dugout. I don't think they were thrilled with that call.
Touch high. 2-0. Inside corner gets the call, 2-1. And the Cougs being patient here at the plate here in this half inning. Now, there have been times where it seems like Scott has had a little bit of trouble locating things, so perhaps making it a bit easy on the Coug hitters. The 2-1. Swing and a miss. There is that nasty slider from Scott 2-2.
And what a time to pull it out. 2-1 count. You got a hitter probably guessing fastball, not guessing, but maybe anticipating. And you break off a nasty slider to get even.
The 2-2. Good stuff from Matt Scott. Top drawer as Scott gets out of the mini jam. Cougs leave 2 on. Bottom of the 5th in just a moment with the Cards leading 1-0. Matt Scott able to pitch his way out of a mini jam. Washington State leaves 2 on. And Stanford's 1-0 lead is preserved heading to the bottom of the 5th inning. 7, 8, 9 batters due up for the Cardinal. Timo Becerra was at the plate when Charlie Somm was caught trying to steal second. So Becerra will complete that plate appearance right here and now. Somm's RBI single so far responsible for the only run of the game. Swing and a miss as Becerra goes down to his knees. Almost Reggie Jackson style. Remember, he would swing and miss, and he'd almost go down to his knees in the process. The 0-1. In the air to left, but this will stay in the park. Taggart barely has to move. Yeah, Reggie Jackson, great baseball player. Look him up, kids. I mean, before my time, too.
Me too, but
I still know the deal.
yeah. If you're a baseball fan, you got to know Reggie Jackson, one of the all-time greats.
How he didn't get a Best Supporting Actor nomination for Naked Gun is beyond me. Trevor Haskins flew out to right to end the 2nd. Holds up on his swing here. Ball 1 from Grant Taylor. Battle of big guys on the mound tonight. Taylor 6'5" for the Cougs. Matt Scott 6'7" for the Cardinal. That one's fouled off and the count evens out 1 ball and 1 strike.
Part of why they're so dominant. I mean, obviously they've got good velocity, good movement, but also an intimidating presence on the mound.
Slicing to right field. Long way to go. Bounces at the base of the wall. And Trevor Haskins just keeps hitting. A stand-up double. So Haskins now has a 6-game hit streak. That brings up Brady Reynolds, who had a rather eventful plate appearance in the 3rd inning. Hit a ball to right field. Max Hartman had to race towards the line to get it. The ball hit off the heel of his glove and went to the ground. And Reynolds hustling, tried to take 3rd, but Hartman was able to recover, get the ball in. The relay throw from Jack Wise, the shortstop, was into 3rd base in time. So E9, but a 9.65 on the putouts. That's how things went for Brady Reynolds his last plate appearance. One ball and no strikes. Just in front of that one, taps it harmlessly to Owen Cobb. Looked like he was teeing it up to maybe putt it back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looked like me out at Golfland or something. 1-1. Fastball just misses a little bit low. Empty bullpen for the Cougs. Taylor's pitch count approaching 65. Here's number 66. That one floats. Didn't miss by much. 3-1.
That's a nice job by Reynolds getting ahead in this count. Number 9 hitter. You got to figure Taylor's going to come right at him on 3-1.
In the air, foul ground. Kramer makes the catch. 2 away.
And he did challenge him, and he got the out. So that's a big second out for Taylor.
And Reynolds missed that one. Easy out for Cole Kramer.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching Taylor work tonight. We talked about the 17 strikeout performance last time out. He's had to do it differently tonight. He hasn't been as dominant. Just 1 strikeout. Giving up a couple of walks, 3 hits, but still he's limited the damage very well. Just the 1 run on the board so far.
A conference on the mound as Nathan Choate comes out of the dugout. No action in the Washington State bullpen. Perhaps just to get everyone on the same page, maybe defensively.
Mm-hmm.
As Owen Cobb, the top of the order, is awaiting his turn. And Cobb, I'll be honest, with the calendar turning to April here, I did not have Owen Cobb as a team leader for Stanford in at-bats, triples, total bases, and slugging percentage at this juncture of the season. I didn't quite have that on my bingo card.
No, I think probably a lot of people are in that same boat. You know, we expected Owen Cobb to get on base a lot, but I think the power number is in the extra base hits. 4 home runs, a couple triples, 6 doubles. That's what's been impressive.
And he's done the bulk of his work in his career at the bottom of the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight he's at the very top of it all.
Yeah, you talk about another guy in a different role this year. Going from the number 9 hitter last year, leading off now.
Cobb on a 4-game hit streak. His batting average has gone from 203 to 265 over that span. Takes this first pitch, breaking ball in for called strike 1. Cobb 0 for 2. Lined out to second, flew out to center in the first and the third, respectively. The 0-1. Swings and misses at the breaking ball here. He's down 0-2.
That's a rare chase tonight for the Cardinal. They've been pretty disciplined in the box, and at the same time from Grant Taylor. That's a pretty nasty pitch and not an easy one to lay off of. And now he's in the driver's seat, 0-2.
Tails outside. Cobb doesn't go for this one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Twice through the order. Taylor with 1 strikeout and a couple of walks. Took him 67 pitches to go through the first 2 batters, the first 2 times through the order. A 1-2. High heat got him. Swing and a miss. And the inning is over. Haskins with the double, but he stays at second. 5 inning in the books. Stanford leads Washington State 1-0. You're watching Stanford live stream. Great to have you with us. Top of the 6th inning. Stanford 1, Washington State 0. Ben Ross with the call of the 6th and the 7th inning.
All right, Troy, we got a good one going. First of a 3-game series between Stanford and Washington State. And a pitcher's duel. No runs, no hits for Washington State. 1 error. Stanford a run on 3 hits and 1 error. And Matt Scott goes back out on the mound for his 6th inning of work. Facing the 9-1-2 hitters, Crew Park, Max Hartman, and Jacob Morrow. Park popped out his first time up tonight in the 3rd inning. Batting .250 on the year. No home runs, 19 RBIs. 1-0.
Scott running into a little bit of trouble in the top half of the 5th with a walk and a hit batter, but able to battle back and induce a fly out and then strike out Jake Wise swinging.
Just inside 2-0. And he lost his command for a couple of batters, but he responded nicely. 8 strikeouts on the night. Just 1 walk. Here's the 2-0. 3-0. And that one was well off the plate. So let's see if he can find his command here. Obviously, not wanting to walk the number 9 hitter to lead off an inning. That's a strike, 3-1.
Well, and by and large, save for that 5th inning as well as Matt Scott has pitched, it's still just a 1-run game.
Mm-hmm. And it is a leadoff walk to Park.
So the margin for error here is very, very slim, if it exists at all.
And that's a credit to Grant Taylor on the other side. We've talked about, maybe not as dominant as he was last time against his last start against Washington, but he's found a way to limit this Cardinal offense to just 1 run through 5 innings. And so now back to the top of the order for Max Hartman. He's 0 for 2 tonight with a couple of strikeouts. Batting .339 on the year, though. Dangerous hitter. Shows bunt. Takes ball 1.
Also might be a testament to Max Hartman in right field and Jack Wise, the shortstop. They tag team on that 9.65 putout. Brady Reynolds trying to take third on Hartman's fielding error in right. Who knows how much different that could have looked if Reynolds had been safe at third.
No question. That's likely another run for the Cardinal. No sign of the bunt there on a called strike, 1-1. Hartman does have 2 sacrifice bunts this year. Excellent speed. He's tied for 4th in the conference with 9 stolen bases. Park, who's on first, has not stolen a bag this year. He's 0 for 1. He runs. Pitch is swung on and missed. And it will be a stolen base unless it was called a foul ball. I don't think it was. So that's a stolen base for Park, and he's now in scoring position. Count 1-2. Scott trying to get Hartman for a 3rd time tonight. The 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now there is some movement in the Cardinal bullpen. 94 pitches for Matt Scott. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. His 9th strikeout of the night. And Hartman goes down swinging for the 3rd time tonight.
High heat's been his out pitch so far, it seems, this evening. Hasn't been his slider, which is when you can really tell that Scott is really, truly dialed in. I mean, he's looked good for the most part here tonight, but he's been able to get more cougs on the high heat than the slider tonight, which we've seen in occasion and on some spots here this evening.
Here's Jacob Morrow now. He's 0 for 2, reached on an error his last time up. And a lob back to second base to check on Park.
Of course, a lot of that could be, scouting. That's the book on the cougs. I'll certainly trust the Stanford brain trust over me as far as how to get opposing batters out.
It has been effective. As that's low for ball 1 to Morrow.
Tomorrow?
Just for Morrow.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, we'll be here
tomorrow. You're right.
Yeah, we'll be here 2 o'clock.
We will be here tomorrow as well. That's a 2:05 start. The 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes. Scott now at 97 pitches.
The ball strike ratio probably getting a bit more even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he started out pumping the strikes in there. Healthy hack and a foul ball, 2-1. Well, Scott has thrown as many as 115 pitches in a game this year. Did that against USC on March 15th. Went 6 2/3 innings in that game. He's gone over 90 in every start for except for his first one this year. And another little lob back to second base. Trying to protect a 1-0 lead. One out in the top of the 6th inning. Here's the 2-1. 2-2. Washington State still looking for their first hit tonight. We've had a few base runners, a couple of walks, a hit batter, and an error.
And all of that coming since the 4th inning, as Scott did retire the first 10 batters that he faced.
Can they get that hit now? Potentially tie the game. Just got a piece. Good pitch from Scott. Count holds at 2-2. It's a Washington State team that came in hitting .299 as a team. Second best in the Pac-12. They're 0 for 16 tonight with a couple of walks. It's their 4th at bat with a runner in scoring position. Another 2-2. Pulled on the ground off the glove of Becerra. And that's going to allow Park to move up to third base. So that's the second error tonight on the Cardinal infield. And for Morrow, he's been the beneficiary. He's reached now 2 straight at-bats on errors.
Becerra maybe just thinking of where to go with the ball before putting the clamps on it with his glove first.
Now, Park was holding at second base, as you're taught to do when there's a grounder in front of you. And it kicked far enough off the glove of Becerra that Park was able to take third. And now the Cougars really threatening. First and third, 1 out. And the number 3 hitter due up, Alan Shibley. We'll see if that does it for Matt Scott, or if he's going to get a chance to face him. He's now at 101 on the pitch count.
Well, we will be here tomorrow, 2:05 p.m. first pitch. And then Sunday to wrap things up at 1:05 here at Sunken Diamond. The weather is probably going to be a little bit like this. It's going to remain dry, thank goodness, because yesterday certainly was a rather nasty day around much of the Bay Area. Snow levels down to 1,500 feet in some spots around here. That's quite rare. But a lot happening here at Sunken Diamond this upcoming weekend. And oh, by the way, you get to watch Pac-12 baseball. What more do you need?
It's a good series. 2 teams right in the middle of the standings right now in the Pac-12, but we've talked about, how close all these teams are. Oregon is in first place at 6-3. You got Washington State not too far behind at 6-6. Stanford at 4-5. I mean, if either team can sweep this series, they're really in business. But even taking 2 of 3, that's probably the goal. First pitch to Shibley, and look at charging in from third, Becerra on a strike. No sign of a bunt there, but certainly a possibility. Becerra at third base playing behind the bag to start. We'll see if he charges in again. Here's the 0-1. Popped up. This is on the infield. Who's going to take it? It's Becerra, and that is a massive second out.
And a bit of redemption there of sorts for Becerra. Able to track that one the whole way and keep everybody where they are on the base paths.
Not out of the woods yet. Now Matt Scott will have to deal with the cleanup hitter, Kaysen Taggart, who leads the team with 6 home runs, 27 RBIs. He's struck out a couple of times tonight. Still batting .314 on the year. Park on third, Morrow on first. 2 out in the top of the 6th. Cardinal trying to protect a 1-0 lead. A first pitch swing and a miss from Taggart. 94 miles an hour from Scott on pitch number 104 of the night.
Feels like it's been a while since we've seen that. That result, a good fastball. And the Coug swinging through it.
Now the 0-1. Good job by Taggart to lay off that high fastball. 1-1. Taggart, the junior from Everett, Washington. Trying to tie this game, maybe even give the Cougars the lead. Reaches out and pokes it foul, and now it's 1-2. Matt Scott trying to pick up his third baseman, Timo Becerra, who made an error a couple batters ago. One strike away from getting out of the jam. Here's the 1-2. On the ground, just foul past third by inches. And that's fortunate for Stanford, or else that could have scored 2 runs.
Inches may be generous.
Yeah, centimeters.
That was a
millimeters.
Scorcher down the third base line.
Still 1-2 on Taggart. Scott from the stretch. Delivers. Line drive to center. That's going to get down and tie the game. Trying for third is Morrow. The throw not in time. And it's 1-1. First hit of the night for Washington State. And it's an RBI single from Kaysen Taggart.
And Scott, oh so close to getting out of it unscathed. And now, it looks like at the start here anyway, that they might give Scott a chance against Joey Kramer.
Yeah, let's see. He is now up to 108 pitches, as we've mentioned. His season high is 115. Joey Kramer 0 for 1 with a walk on the night, hitting .318, 6 home runs, 19 runs driven in. Chance to give the Cougars the lead. First pitch. Called strike. So Morrow now on third base, Taggart on first. Taggart does have a couple of stolen bases this year in 3 attempts. Here's the 0-1. Ball and a strike. A run on 1 hit and 1 error for Washington State. 1 run, 3 hits, 2 errors for Stanford. Tense moments here in the 6th inning. The 1-1 to Kramer. Check swing, and he couldn't hold up. He went around, says Kelly Gonzalez at first base. Cougars fans and dugout don't like it, but I think that was probably the right call from our view. And it's 1-2. So Scott had Taggart 1-2, gave up the single. Now the 1-2 to Kramer. Popped up behind second base. Cobb is there, and that will end the inning. Nice job by Matt Scott. Limits the damage to 1 unearned run. Strands a couple. But the Cougars do tie the game. And heading to the bottom of the 6th, it's 1-1. Welcome back to Sunken Diamond. All tied 1-1 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Stanford and Washington State opening a 3-game series. The Cardinal scoring a run in the 4th inning. Washington State getting even in the top half of the 6th. And now the Cardinal will try and answer. They've got their 2-3-4 hitters coming up. Court McDonald, Malcolm Moore, and Jimmy Nadai. Facing the right-hander Grant Taylor, who remains in the game for his 6th inning of work. 71 pitches through 5, 1 run on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. And the first pitch to McDonald is high and away.
Well, I imagine that Taylor might be a bit rejuvenated now here a little bit as well, now that this is a tie game.
That's in there for a strike. Both pitchers have been excellent tonight. That's what we expected. A couple of big, dominant right-handers. McDonald, one of the 3 hits for the Cardinal tonight. He's 1 for 2 with a single. And that is tapped just foul. 1-2. McDonald leading the Cardinal with a .333 batting average. 3 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Taylor looking for that shutdown inning we always talk about for pitchers. His team has gotten even, and now he's trying to keep it level heading to the 7th. Got to go right through the middle of the order. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. It went upstairs, and McDonald strikes out. Just the 3rd K of the night for Taylor. And that's the first out of the 6th.
Yeah, just the 3rd strikeout, but back-to-back. So you got Owen Cobb swinging on a high fastball to end the 5th.
Taylor now with 50 strikeouts on the season in 46 2/3 innings. Of course, we mentioned it early. You're probably already aware of what he did last start against Washington. 17 strikeouts, a school record. As Malcolm Moore tips the first pitch for strike 1.
You know, I'd forgotten that John Olerud pitched.
What an athlete.
State.
What a player he was.
But yeah, he had the record for most strikeouts in a single game for a Washington State pitcher with 16 until last week.
You think about Olerud as one of the all-time great hitters. And oh, by the way, struck out 16 in a game for the Cougars.
Yep.
1-1 on Malcolm Moore, who's been on base both times today. Walked in the first, hit by a pitch, and scored in the 4th. Wave and a miss, 1-2.
I think that was back in the old NORPAC days when you had the 6-pack, when the Pac-10 was split up into 2 different divisions of sorts. 6-pack was Stanford, Cal, UCLA, USC, and the Arizona schools. And the NORPAC was Washington, Oregon State, Washington State, and I believe Portland State, because Oregon did not have a program. They discontinued it in the early 80s until bringing it back, I believe, in the early 2000s, if memory serves me correctly. So it was back in the old NORPAC days.
2-2 pitch. Hit sharply, but right at the shortstop Wise. Low throw, picked out at first base by Kramer. Nicely done.
Well, Washington State, one of their strengths is defense. Second in the Pac-12 in fielding percentage coming into today, and we've seen that. Smooth work on the infield. The 9.65 put out on the E9.
Yeah, I was going to say even their one error turned into an out.
Exactly, yeah. So defense, especially in a game like this, a game that is trending towards being a closely contested one, the better you play defense, the better position you find yourself in.
Here's Jimmy Nadai, 0 for 2 on the night, takes ball 1.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, for quite a while, even though it was the 6-pack and the NORPAC, you would think that the champions would have met each other, but they didn't for quite a while until like 97, when somebody finally said, "Hey, let's put these 2 together."
That's a good idea.
And have a Pac-10 championship game.
1-1 on Nadai.
And in that first Pac-10 championship game in 97, best of 3, Stanford won game 1 on a walk-off, but the Washington Huskies won games 2 and 3. Game 3, if I remember right, got to like 102 that day. It was not pleasant.
Balmy.
In more ways than one.
2-1 on Nadai. The pitch from Taylor. In there, right at the knees, 2-2. Nadai, as we mentioned, 0 for 2 tonight, struck out in the first inning, flied out in the 4th. Batting .288 with a home run and 13 runs batted in. Chopper foul.
Of course, these days, the conference's automatic qualifier decided by the Pac-12 tournament, which will, of course, come everyone's way in late May, once again. May 21st through 25th.
And a swing and a miss for Grant Taylor, who gets Nadi for the second time tonight. His fourth strikeout. And he does get that shutdown inning for the Cougars. We'll head to the seventh, tied at 1 from Stanford. One to one as we head to the seventh inning. Stanford and Washington State locked in a good one. And the Cardinal will go to the bullpen after 6 strong innings from Matt Scott. They'll turn to the right-hander Trevor Moore, making his team-leading 14th appearance of the year. 2-0 with a 5.34 ERA. 31 strikeouts, 8 walks in 30 1/3 innings of work. And he'll be facing the 6, 7, 8 hitters for the Cougars. Trey Cruz, Cole Kramer, and Jack Wise. As Cruz steps in, 0 for 1 tonight. Hit by a pitch his last time up. More out of the windup. And a swing and a miss. 93 miles an hour.
Final line on Matt Scott, 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 run. It was unearned. 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, 1 hit batter, and 112 pitches.
That's a heck of a performance against a good Washington State lineup. It came in batting .299, averaging close to 7 runs per game. Moore has lowered his, or Scott rather, has lowered his ERA now to 3.86. Close pitch, just missed, 2-1.
That being said, a hit batter that I'm sure Matt would love to have back, a couple of untimely walks that he would love to have back, and didn't get a lot of help from his defense either, unfortunately.
High pop down the left field line, long run for Lavin. He's going to run out of real estate. And that ends up being a strike, 2-2. These teams familiar with 1-run games, if it ends up being that. Washington State 3-4 in 1-run contests this year. Stanford 2-3. As Cruz back in the batter's box, hitting .217 in limited action this year, 5 for 23 with a home run. And a swing and a miss. Trevor Moore with a strikeout. And that's the 10th K for Stanford pitching tonight.
Well, it's been a specialty for Stanford pitching this season. They'll strike you out. Now, they'll also walk you. They'll also have stretches where they kind of struggle to find a groove and find consistent location, and they might throw it around a little bit, but they will strike you out.
Fastball is high to Cole Kramer. Yeah, that's strikeout number 267 on the season for the Cardinal in just over 236 innings. 1-1 on Kramer.
Trevor Moore got the win at Washington back on March 9th, 3 2/3 shutout. So a win at UW. I'm sure that makes the Coug fans watching us, brings a smile to their face.
1-2 on Kramer, who's 0 for 2 tonight, a ground out and a flyout. Leads the team with a .365 batting average. A home run, 18 RBIs. 2-2. Kramer, a junior from Arlington, Washington. Went to Arlington High School, then Lynn Benton Community College. Here's the 2-2. Chased and missed. And it's another strikeout for the Cardinal. So Trevor Moore comes in and gets Cruz and Kramer to start the 7th inning.
Yeah, and perfect description of it. He chased it. Breaking ball, down low, no chance of it being a strike, but Kramer just couldn't resist.
So now that brings up Jack Wise, who grounded out in the 3rd inning, struck out in the 5th. 2 out, no one on. Top of the 7th inning of a 1-1 game. And that's outside. Wise 1 for 12 on the season. He has walked 3 times and scored 2 runs. A wave and a miss, 1-1.
And good stuff early on from Trevor Moore.
Moore, a sophomore from Golden, Colorado. Another swing and a miss. So he's picking up right where Matt Scott left off. A lot of swing and miss tonight in this Cougars lineup, and that's a credit to Scott and Moore.
Yeah, if you're a pitcher growing up in Colorado, your stuff had better be good.
High altitude. Well, he strikes out the side in the 7th. How about that from Trevor Moore? 12 strikeouts tonight for the Cardinal pitching staff. And as we stretch on the farm, it remains tied 1-1. Bottom of the 7th coming up next. Bottom of the 7th inning at Sunken Diamond. Stanford and Washington State tied at 1. It'll be the 5, 6, 7 hitters for the Cardinal. Luke Lavin, Charlie Somm, and Timo Becerra facing Grant Taylor, who remains in the game. He's pitched 6 strong innings at 86 pitches. That was number 87 outside.
And he's gotten better. He struck out 3 of the last 4 batters that he's faced.
4 strikeouts on the night, just 3 hits allowed, 2 walks. And that's ball 2 to Lavin, who's flied out to right a couple of times tonight.
There is action in the Washington State bullpen. It is a right-hander. From our vantage point, we can't exactly see whom it is, but we can tell you it's a righty.
That's a strike.
I mean, I'm not sure that narrows it down. Maybe it does a little bit, but, you know, I try to help as much as I can.
Hey, we like to keep the mystery alive. Taylor made 115 pitches in that last start at Washington. The 1-hit shutout with 17 Ks. He's behind the count here, 3-1. Lavin hitting .250 on the year, 10 for 40. No home runs, 4 RBIs.
Oh, a 5-game hit streak.
And that's as good as a hit. It's a leadoff walk to start the bottom of the 7th. So the go-ahead run is on for the Cardinal.
Well, and it's on for the Stanford batter who has been most consistent in getting on base, not just today, but also for much of this week. And Charlie Somm walked in the 2nd, RBI single in the 4th. So suddenly this game could be the fulcrum point.
He is locked in as a conference on the mound. Nathan Choate walking out. He's the pitching coach as well as the head coach of this Washington State team. Now 91 pitches for Taylor. That was his 3rd walk of the night. And it looks like they are going to make the change in the call to the bullpen. So Grant Taylor will go 6+ innings, 1 run, plus he's responsible for Lavin on first base. We'll step aside, tell you about the new reliever for Washington State when we come back. Duke Brotherton, the new pitcher for Washington State. Another 6'5" right-hander, 217 pounds. Senior from Mercer Island, Washington. Making his 11th appearance of the season. 4-1 with a 4.65 ERA. 24 strikeouts, 13 walks, and 31 innings of work. And so his task will be to keep this a 1-1 game. Go-ahead run on first for the Cardinal. In Lavin, Charlie Somm, the batter, with nobody out. And a throw to first. Lavin dives back. Actually, it's a pinch runner now. Ethan Hott. So Hott with some better speed at first base. Couple of stolen bases in 4 attempts this year. And now the first pitch to Somm. He shows bunt, pulls it back, and takes a ball.
If I had to guess, Hott would stay in, and maybe he and Court McDonald would flip-flop between left and center. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
First things first. The Cardinal trying to bring him home. Another bunt shown and pulled back for a strike, 1-1. So it looks like Somm will try and sacrifice here. He's been on base twice today. A walk in the second inning, RBI single in the fourth to provide the Cardinals run. Another throw to first. That one slips away, but not far enough. Kramer got a piece of it, and Hunt couldn't advance.
March 16th, Brotherton the start at UCLA. Through 5 innings, gave up just 1 run. It was earned. Struck out 5. Earned the win against the Bruins down in Westwood that day.
He's made 2 starts this year. This is his 9th relief appearance. And the bunt is along the first base line, but foul. And the count goes to 1-2. Brotherton, by the way, with those 4 wins, tied for second in the Pac-12, as is Grant Taylor, who cannot win tonight. He's 4-1. He could take the loss, as he's responsible for the runner on first.
6+, 3 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts on 91 pitches. Both Taylor and Scott faced 23 batters, by the way.
They were both excellent. Only 4 hits in this game. Yeah. 1 for Washington State, 3 for Stanford. He's showing bunt with 2 strikes, and that's going to be a foul ball and a strikeout. So Somm unable to advance the runner. And that's a big first out for Brotherton.
And an unfortunate way for that at bat to end for one of the hotter bats for Stanford this week.
Here's Timo Becerra, who's been a pretty hot bat this year, batting .306. He's 0 for 2 tonight, a couple of flyouts. No home runs, 9 RBIs on the season. Outside with the fastball.
Duke Brotherton's great-grandparents, both of them graduated from Washington State in the 30s. Both his grandparents graduated from Washington State in the 60s. Both his parents graduated from Washington State in the 90s.
Wow.
So Duke is a 4th-generation Coug.
In the air, foul territory, long run. That will get out of play.
So I'd imagine there wasn't much conversation when it came time for Duke to choose colleges.
Born to be a Coug.
Yeah. From Mercer Island, hop on I-90 East, get to Spokane, make a ride on 195 South, and you'll get there in about an hour and a half from Spokane.
Here's the 1-1. That's low. You know directions, I think, about as well as anyone I know. You've been some places.
A couple.
You know this country pretty well. A lot of it. 2-1. And a throw to first. Well, this would be a possible hit and run type count if you want to put Hot in motion. Becerra handles the bat pretty well. He's struck out 17 times in 98 at-bats this year. 2-1 pitch is in there. 2-2. Hot gave a little bit of a bluff towards second, but stayed put. Cougars defense on the infield at double play depth. Brotherton from the stretch. The 2-2. And now a full count. We've seen some pretty good at-bats in this game, despite there only being 4 hits. Guys have worked the count well.
Yep.
Gone deep into the count. We've seen, feels like a lot of full counts in this game. Here's the payoff pitch. Chopper foul. And Hott was not running. So they didn't put him in motion 2-1. They didn't put him in motion 3-2. At least not yet.
Did kind of that bluff at first base where he takes maybe 1 step or 2 on a full sprint towards second base, then kind of goes into running man mode, I guess, in a sense.
Some high knees.
Running in place, Roger Craig style.
This time he does run. And it's a ground ball into left field. Hott around second, heading for third. The throw gets by, and now the throw to second base will be late as Becerra moves into scoring position. So the hit and run pays off for the Cardinal. They've now got runners on second and third and just 1 out.
Yeah, and if not for that, if not for Hott being off and running, Stanford would not have runners at second and third right now. That was well executed by the Cardinal from start to finish and helped out a little bit by an error by Taggart. The throwing error, E7, allowing Becerra to take second.
So now each team with 2 errors tonight. And the infield has to come in for Washington State. Trevor Haskins, another hot hitter coming up. He doubled his last time. 1 for 2 tonight. Takes high. Haskins, as we mentioned earlier, hit for the cycle last game against Texas Tech. First Cardinal to do that since 2011. Looking for the go-ahead RBI here. Lays off the 1-0, now 2 balls and no strikes.
Infield in. Everyone lined up around the cut of the grass.
Haskins on the season batting .277. 2-0 pitch. Fouled, and that might have got a piece of him as well. 2-1.
Boy, Haskins way in front of that one.
Brotherton does have first base open. On deck is the number 9 hitter, Brady Reynolds. You don't necessarily have to challenge Haskins, even if you're behind in the count. You can try and make him hit your pitch. The 2-1. Got that one in on the hands, and the count now 2-2.
Almost sent that one Eske's way. David Esker deftly stepping out of the way.
He had some good hands.
Sure did. Make some great tortilla chips, too.
That is true. Man of many talents. 2-2 pitch is fouled away.
Yeah, Haskins just a bit ahead. Just a step ahead, it seems.
The pitch came in at 83 miles per hour. See if Brotherton stays off speed or comes back with the heater. 1-1, bottom 7. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. And Brotherton with a huge second out.
Breaking ball on Haskins. Couldn't lay off of it. And that's been a good out pitch for the Cougs so far tonight, as Taylor was able to use that with effectiveness, especially in the 5th and 6th innings. But now it's Brotherton trying to nail it down.
So now here's Brady Reynolds. Infield can go back to its normal depth for Washington State. Cardinal trying to take the lead here in the 7th. Fly ball center field. Shibley on the run back, still going at the wall, has just enough room. And that will end the inning. Boy, Reynolds gave it a ride. estimated at 395 feet. He needed about 5 more. But we remain tied heading to the 8th. It's 1-1, Stanford and Washington State. Washington State and Stanford tied 1-1 as we head to the 8th inning. And once again, with the play-by-play, Troy Clarity.
Thank you, Ben. 1 run, 1 hit, 2 errors for Washington State. 1 run, 4 hits, 2 errors for the Cardinal. Ethan Hott staying in the game and in center field, with Court McDonald moving from center field to left. Crew Park, the 9-batter in the Washington State order, leading off for Washington State. Facing off against Trevor Moore. And Park pops this one up. Might be playable, but it lands in the second row, much to the surprise of the nearest fan, who suddenly has a free souvenir. Strike one. Close the book, of course, now on Grant Taylor, the Washington State starter. 6+, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned. 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. And a golden opportunity for Stanford to get some separation and take a lead in the bottom of the 7th inning went by the wayside. As we remain tied with Park, who walked in the 6th inning and later came around to score on Kason Taggart's RBI single in the 6th. 1 ball and 1 strike to Park. Park, a transfer from Abilene Christian. Fouls it off. Right to Max Hartman in the Washington State on-deck circle. Count goes to 1-2. Park originally from Mesa, Arizona. One ball and 2 strikes. The pitch from Trevor Moore. Just a bit high. 2-2. Moore threw an inning and 2/3 against the Red Raiders on Tuesday. No decision, and gave up a run it was earned, a walk and a strikeout with a couple of hits. Fouled off. Count stays at 2-2. Park making more work. Stepping back into the box. The 2-2 pitch from Trevor Moore. Malcolm Moore tried to frame it. Doesn't get the call. 3-2.
Good at bat here from Park. Moore came in, steamrolled through a few strikeouts in his first inning in the 7th.
Moore rears back, fires high and tight, and walks the leadoff man here in the bottom of the 8th. Top of the 8th, check that.
That's now 18 walks this year for Park in 98 plate appearances. He's got a very good eye, his 2nd walk of the night.
Washington State batters have struck out 12 times tonight. Max Hartman has 3 of them. Back up to the top of the Washington State order we go. Max Hartman 0 for 3 with Crew Park at first. Shows bunt. Popped up. Scrambling for it. And making the catch on the run, Trevor Moore in fair territory.
Good first step. Pitchers are athletes too. That's what Dallas Braden would say. Well, we haven't seen the bunt attempts pay off tonight. A couple of sacrifice attempts these last couple innings, and they have not been able to move the runners up.
Charlie Somm pushing a bunt attempt foul on strike 2. Jacob Morrow has struck out in the 1st, reached on an error by Trevor Haskins in the 4th, reached on an error by Timo Becerra in the 6th. Could be bad news for Owen Cobb at 2nd. Pitch down low from Moore for ball 1. In the Cougs sweep of the Sun Devils a couple weeks ago, Morrow drove in 4 runs during the course of that 3-game series. Back over to first. Park with the leadoff walk here in the 8th. His leadoff walk in the 6th paid off later in that frame when Taggart knocked him in on an RBI single. The only hit of this game to this point for Washington State. 1 ball, no strikes. Throw back over the first. Matt Scott facing 23 batters, and Washington State not getting a base hit until hitter number 22. Wind appears to have died down. Not completely. As that's a fastball high, 91 miles an hour, 2-0. The count tomorrow. Wind has not died down completely. There is still a breeze. Center field flags are still, but we are getting a bit of a breeze moving out to left. Breaking ball just tails outside, 3-0. More in danger of walking 2 in this half inning. And he does. So runners at first and second with 1 out. The go-ahead run in scoring position. Alan Shibley coming up to the plate. And Thomas Eager, the Kathy Wolf assistant coach, up and out of the Stanford dugout.
Well, the walks have been maybe the one issue for Stanford pitching tonight. They've only allowed 1 hit, but credit to the Cougars, they've still found a way to get some base runners. And now they've given themselves an opportunity to grab the lead for the first time.
Well, that 2 in the E column for Stanford doesn't hurt matters much for the Cougs.
That's a good point as well. And obviously the run tonight for Washington State was unearned due to one of those errors. So you got a good battle here. Number 3 hitter Shibley, Trevor Moore. Can he find it again? He looked so dominant in the 7th inning. A couple of walks here in the 8th. And it's a good time for a conversation with Thomas Eager.
It's always a good time for a conversation with Thomas Eager.
Yeah, but you're only allowed 1 per inning.
Okay.
Might as well. You got to make the most of it.
No, he's a great pitching coach. he's a mad scientist when it comes to pitching game plans and managing pitchers, especially in the postseason. Always enjoy catching up with him. Shibley 0 for 3. Flew out in the 1st, struck out in the 4th, popped out in the 6th. Park at 2nd, Morrow at 1st. And action beginning in the Stanford pen. Popped up, but this one will land behind us here in the press box. Heads up if we're back in the entry plaza. As night has fallen on the farm. First week of the spring quarter. I hear a ruckus over at the softball field. Off to our left. No balls and 1 strike. Nice curveball. Goes over. Called strike 2.
Stanford softball team taking on Arizona State tonight.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened over there. Well, Cardinal up 4-0. That's after 6.
No balls and 2 strikes. Got him. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Big out. 2 gone.
That's 13 strikeouts now for Cardinal pitching tonight. That has been the weapon for these Stanford pitchers, both Trevor Moore and Matt Scott, getting a lot of swing and miss, and that's a nice job by Moore after a couple of walks. Now can he get another tough hitter to get out of this inning?
Kason Taggart struck out in his first 2 plate appearances, then got the RBI single in the 6th to give Washington State its lone run so far. First pitch, fastball in there, called strike 1. Stanford softball ranked anywhere between number 8 and number 2 in the polls this week, depending upon which ones you look at. There's like about 6 of them. No balls and 1 strike. Reaches out down the line, fair ball. pass to diving Becerra. McDonald up with it. Here comes Park. He scores. And Washington State leads it 2-1. Well, history doesn't repeat itself, but sometimes it rhymes. Park walking to lead off an inning, and Taggart knocking him in to score a run.
Couple of clutch at bats from Taggart. That's a great job of hitting. Just sprayed it right down the line. Becerra made a great effort but couldn't get there. And the first lead of the night for the Cougars.
And only the second base hit of the night for Washington State, and they both belong to Taggart. Joey Kramer watches the first pitch upstairs for ball one. Kramer walked in the fifth. The 1-0 from Trevor Moore. That's a gorgeous breaking ball. 1-1.
Well, if you're Moore here, you got to put that behind you quickly. This is another really big at bat. You want to keep this a one-run deficit. You got your top of the order coming up for Stanford.
Fouled off. 2-2. Kramer began his collegiate career at Santa Rosa JC, transferred after 2021. Was the North Bay League Pitcher of the Year in 2018. So he's back in the Bay, the 2-2. Down the line, past Jimmy Natai, and rolling down the line for a base hit. Coming around and scoring. Jacob Morrow is in, and the Cougs add one more. It's 3-1 Washington State. Cougs attacking the lines.
Yeah, that's some tough luck for Trevor Moore, and take nothing away from these hitters. Credit to them, but you get one right down the third base line, you get another right down the first base line. That close, but they're both RBI hits, and now the Cougars a little bit of breathing room.
Joey Cruz is being pinch hit for. As this is Logan Johnstone. Johnstone, a redshirt sophomore, originally from Los Gatos. Went to Los Gatos High School. Transferred from Gonzaga. Johnstone appearing in his 8th game of the year. He's batting .167. No home runs or RBI to this point. First pitch to him floats high for ball one. So the North Bay representing with Joey Kramer and his from Rohnert Park and his RBI single. Now Logan Johnstone will try to represent the South Bay. And he does. He sends this one to left field. Long way to go, but it just falls in foul territory. Count it 1-1. Washington State has pushed 2 across so far in the top half of the 8th. It's a movie that it seems like we've seen before with Stanford for certainly much of the last month or so with Matt Scott, by and large, pitching well enough to win. But things not working out in the latter innings. And defense may be betraying the Cardinal a bit as well. 1-1. Curveball floats in there. Called strike 2. The 1-2. Fouled off. Taggart at third, Joey Kramer at first. Each of them with RBI singles. Runner heading to second. Moore blocks it and hangs on to it. And lets Kramer head over to second.
And Cardinal, we're going to give up that bag. It looks like neither Haskins nor Cobb covered second on the play. I think it makes sense. You don't want to throw through there and give Taggart a chance to sprint home.
The 2-2. Curve just misses a couple inches high. And now the count full. Action in the Stanford bullpen, a right-hander. Three-two pitch. High. Ball four. Bases loaded.
Well, this has turned into a very long top of the eighth inning. These Cougars having long, drawn-out, solid at-bats, not chasing despite the strikeout numbers. They're making it tough, especially here on Trevor Moore. He's now up over 40 pitches.
And facing the eighth batter of this half inning. Fastball blocked down low to Cole Kramer. Cole 0 for 3. Ground out, fly out, strikeout. Bases loaded. Case and Taggart, an RBI single down the third baseline at third. Joey Kramer, an RBI single down the first baseline at second. And Logan Johnstone at first with a walk. There's that slider, 1-1. The pitch. Fly ball down the right field line will land foul and in the Stanford bullpen. One ball, two strikes. Everybody retakes their places on the base paths. The 1-2. Got him. Swing and a miss, strike three. But Washington State strikes twice. Taggart down the right field line. Kramer down the right field line. RBI singles for both. Give Washington State a 3-1 lead. Bottom of the eighth in just a moment. Cardinal with work to do. Bottom of the eighth inning. Cougs ahead 3-1. Troy Clarity and Ben Ross here on Stanford live stream. Washington State with 2 in the top half of the eighth. Stanford trying to answer. And they begin at the top of the order. Owen Cobb looking for his first base hit of the evening. Cobb with a 4-game hit streak on the line. Facing off against Duke Brotherton, who came on in the 7th inning after Grant Taylor went 6+. He fires a first pitch strike here to Cobb. Cobb from Seattle, Brotherton from Mercer Island. So a little Kingco matchup here. Fouled off, 0-2.
Brotherton did a great job keeping this game tied last inning with the Cardinal threatening. And now he could be in line for the win if he can hold on to this lead.
The 0-2. Well upstairs, 1-2. Stanford had runners at second and third, and 2 and 1 out before Trevor Haskins struck out, and then Brady Reynolds sent one to deep center field, but it was caught 5 feet short of the wall. The 1-2 pitch. Fastball. Got him looking. Called strike 3. The low strike called there. 1 gone.
They talked about Brotherton with those 4 wins this year despite only 2 starts. This is his 9th relief appearance, but it tells you he's comfortable being in these close games late. Just 1 loss. And that's a big first out at the top of the order.
Court McDonald singled and was caught stealing in the first. One of two Stanford base runners to get caught stealing. And if you want to throw Brady Reynolds getting thrown out 9-6-5 in the third inning, you could probably add that to the list as well. The 0-1. Fouls it off opposite field, 0-2. Malcolm Moore in the on-deck circle. McDonald facing the 0-2. Foul just off the very top of the screen. Count stays at 0-2. It was 54 degrees when we began things here. Now it's 49. No balls, 2 strikes. Reaches out, fouls that one over above the Washington State dugout.
Couple of good 2-strike swings from McDonald, who's just trying to find any way to get on base. Get the tying run to the plate. You got powerful Malcolm Moore on deck.
Yep. Makes contact here, goes opposite field, and drops it down for a base hit. And Court McDonald pumped up.
It's a great at-bat. And you can see why he's hitting .330. I mean, you're behind in the count. You foul off a couple of tough pitches. You just find a way to put it in play, serve it into left field, and now, as we said, you get Malcolm Moore to the plate as the possible tying run.
Moore walked in the first, was hit by a pitch, later came around to score in the fourth. Grounded out to short in the sixth. Team high 8 home runs, slugging .511 coming into tonight. With 1 on and 1 out. Moore takes that one outside for ball 1. There is action in the Washington State bullpen. It is a right-hander. One ball, no strikes to Moore. Fly ball to the left. Taggart drifting back to just shy of the track, and he makes the grab.
Oh, that ball carried pretty well, and it gives you an idea of the power Malcolm Moore has. The opposite fields, and he nearly sent it out of here. Got a little bit under it. His launch angle around 40 or 41 degrees. But he still nearly carried it out to tie the game.
Jimmy Nati 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Runner at first is McDonald. It's a fastball right down the middle. Nati down 0-1. 41 degrees. That was the launch angle, not the temperature. Feels like it, though. The 0-1 from Brotherton. Slapped right to short, took a funny hop on Wise, but he's able to get it to second in time for the out. Cardinal get one on, but can't push it across. Washington State 3, Stanford 1, top of the 9th, straight ahead. Top of the 9th inning, Washington State leading Stanford 3-1, and the new pitcher for the Cardinal is Ben Reimers, a freshman from Aliso Viejo, California, about to make his 10th appearance. A 1-1 record, an ERA of 7.5, 18 innings pitched, 19 hits, 15 runs, all earned, 11 walks, 16 strikeouts. Opposing batters hitting .271 against Reimers. A couple of hit batters couple of balks. Reimers trying to make sure that it stays a 2-run game for the Cardinal for the bottom of the ninth. Jack Wise looks at the first pitch from Reimers, miss upstairs for ball 1. Wise 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts along the way. Final line on Trevor Moore, 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs both earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Wise thinks about it, does not go around, according to first base umpire Kelly Gonzalez. 2-0 the count. Reimers got the win against San Jose State back on February 26th. Went 2 1/3 and struck out 3 along the way against the Spartans that day. Pumps this one low, 3-0. Three balls, no strikes. And that one's a called strike 1. I understand it's gone final in Cleveland, and our women's national championship game is all set. South Carolina beating NC State earlier tonight. Iowa surviving UConn. 3-1. High and inside. Ball 4. The 6th walk issued by Cardinal pitchers tonight. And when Stanford has issued leadoff walks to begin innings, it's come around to bite them. Leadoff walk in the 6th led to Washington State's first run to tie it up at 1 apiece. And the leadoff walk to begin the 8th inning led to Washington State's 2 runs to give them their current 3-1 advantage.
Yeah, it's really been walks and errors. Only 3 hits tonight for Washington State, all singles. But they've been at big times with runners in scoring position.
The bunt lands well, foul. Oh, by the way, those 2 previous leadoff walks were issued to Crew Park, who's at the plate right now. Park 0 for 1 with a pop out in the 3rd, and the 2 walks in the 6th, and in the 8th. Later came around to score on both of those. The 0-1 from Reimers. Shows bunt. This one goes over, 0-2.
Well, let's see if they leave the bunt down. We saw Stanford try to keep the bunt down with 2 strikes and ended up being a foul ball for a strikeout.
The 0-2 from Reimers. Fouls it off. So Iowa, South Carolina, just how you might have thought it might turn out when the brackets came out. Of course, would have been nice if Stanford would have been able to find a way past NC State in the Sweet 16, but kudos to the Wolfpack for advancing and making it to today. The 0-2. That one just misses. The count 1-2 to Park.
What a game Iowa and South Carolina should be, huh?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's a great game between Iowa and LSU. Tonight, Iowa, UConn. Iowa's had a tough path, and obviously the toughest one coming up.
Fouled off. Count stays at 1-2.
I mean, either way, it's an amazing storyline.
Yeah.
South Carolina looking for an undefeated season.
Yep.
For Iowa, can Caitlin Clark win a national championship?
Yep. What a compelling tournament that's been.
Mm-hmm.
Had a blast being up in Portland last week for the Portland 4 regional. Did not notice that the 3-point lines were uneven until I walked in the building on Sunday morning, and someone said, hey, wait a minute.
It's been the one negative about this tournament.
1-2. Fastball low and outside, 2-2.
You just hate to think that could have an impact. I mean, I guess the good news is maybe that's why they switched sides at halftime, but still, it changes things.
Yeah, it can.
And it's an inexcusable mistake to have at this level.
Fouled off again. Of course, Washington State was really in line for a terrific season, but Charlize Ledger-Walker got hurt midway through conference play, and when you lose a player of that magnitude, it's really tough to be able to accomplish the the same things you might have set out to at the beginning of the season. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Curveball. Now the count full.
Another long at bat here. And you mentioned Park walking his last 2 times up. He has been a tough guy to put away for Stanford pitching right at the bottom of the order.
Yeah, for a game that's only featured 4 runs and 8 hits, we're about to hit the 3-hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
Swing and a miss. Foul tip into the glove. And Reimers gets Park swinging.
I think that speaks to the length of these at-bats. I mean, as you said, 4 runs total, 8 hits total, a couple of errors each side, but still, it's not a game that's necessarily seen a ton of pitching changes. It's just been really tough, grinded-out type at-bats from both sides.
Max Hartman, the batter. Showed bunt, connected, but it went right back to Trevor Moore in the 8th inning. Reimers deals this one. Slider low and inside for ball 1 with Jack Wise, recipient of a leadoff walk at first. A 1-0 from Reimers. 2-0. So Stanford women's basketball, their off-season has begun. Stanford men's basketball's off-season began a couple weeks ago. Of course, they made a transaction last week. The 2-0. Now high 3-0. Kyle Smith, of course, a familiar name and face to our friends watching up in Pullman.
Mm-hmm.
Now the head coach of Stanford men's basketball. Had a chance to hang out with him in his office on Tuesday afternoon. In-depth chat. Good dude. The 3-0. That's a fastball. Gets the call from Scott Latender.
Guy who's familiar with the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
Did a great job at USF. Great job at Washington State.
Yep. 3 balls and 1 strike. Runner going. Strike 2 called, and the throw rather, is not in time. Backed up well by Haskins. But Wise is in with the stolen base.
Yeah, good backup there. I like being aggressive on the base paths, especially when you have the lead. And now you do have a chance to pick up an insurance run with a base hit.
Just fouls it back. Hey, it's not like you're up 18 or anything like that, right? 2 runs.
You're just trying to get any extra cushion here. We know how crazy things can get in the bottom of the 9th. 2 runs is tight.
The 3-2 pitch from Reimers. Fools him completely. And that's 2 strikeouts on the evening for Reimers.
Yeah, that's a great pitch. And on 3-2, gets him way out in front at 81 miles an hour. That's a nice job by Reimers. 16 strikeouts now for the Stanford pitching staff tonight.
Jacob Morrow 0 for 3, but has reached on 2 errors. Also walked and scored in the 8th. With Wise at second, swing and a miss on the slider there. Strike 1 to Morrow. No balls and 1 strike. Swing and a miss again. Morrow down 0-2. Reimers hoping to strand Wise at second. No serious action, it appears, right now in the Stanford bullpen. The 0-2 pitch from Reimers. High. A 1-2. This one is down the right field line, a long way to go, trying to dive and can't catch up with it, but landing foul in front of Reynolds.
Great effort. And fortunately for the Cardinal, it did land foul. Not by a whole lot. But obviously that would have given the insurance run to the Cougars.
Well, after the RBI single by Kason Taggart, that shot down the third baseline, and then the RBI single by Joey Kramer that shot down the first baseline, back-to-back in the 8th inning, maybe Stanford was due in that situation.
Yeah. They were due a break on the foul line.
Count still 1-2 with Wise at second. Now 2-2. Reimer stepped off, and then he saw the pitch clock moving, so he stepped right back on the rubber. The 2-2 pitch hits him on the shoulder. Second hit batter by Stanford pitchers tonight. Morrow taking his time, walking down to first with a member of the Cougars training staff in pursuit.
Yeah, that caught him flush, and hopefully it's nothing more than a bruise. Couldn't see exactly where it got him, but you wonder if Reimer's rhythm was a little thrown off there. You mentioned he stepped off, stepped right back on with the clock running, maybe a little rushed, and that one got away from him.
Well, how do you reach base 4 times in 5 plate appearances without getting a base hit? Well, if you're Jacob Morrow, you reach on an error by the shortstop, then you reach on an error by the third baseman, you walk, and then you get hit by a pitch.
That's it.
Alan Shibley 0 for 4, has struck out twice. With 2 on and 2 out, fastball high strike called, 0-1. Shibley with a solo home run last week at Washington. No balls and 1 strike. Breaking ball, 1-1. Cougs took just 1 out of 3 against the Huskies last week. 1-1. That's in there. Called strike 2. Won the series opener 4-0 when Grant Taylor pitched like Bob Gibson, but then dropped the final 2 games of the series. A 1-2 pitch. Lace foul.
Seen a lot of foul balls tonight. And again, that just goes back to these gritty, long at-bats, especially Washington State. But both sides have battled.
This will be pitch number 190 for Stanford tonight. The 1-2 is high. Wise at second, Morrow at first. 2 out, 2 on, and the 2-2 pitch. Just misses outside. Reimers wanted that one. Doesn't get the call. Nor should he have, from my perspective, as that pitch was outside. I wouldn't have minded if he'd gotten the call. The 3-2 pitch. Got him looking. Called strike 3. Reimers emerges unscathed. But now it's down to Stanford's final 3 outs. Hot, Sam, Becerra due up for the Cardinal with the Cougs ahead 3-1. Bottom of the 9th inning, Washington State leading Stanford 3-1. And it begins with Ethan Hott, who came on as a pinch runner in the 7th and since stayed in the game. So this is his first plate appearance of this game. The sophomore from Paradise Valley, Arizona, slashing .315, .403, .407 with no home runs and 4 RBI. Fists this one back to the screen. Duke Brotherton still pitching for Washington State. As Brotherton has already pitched now 2+ innings. Has struck out 3, no walks. And was able to emerge out of a mini jam in the bottom of the 7th unscathed. Ball goes over Brotherton's head, skips off of Park's glove, and Hott is safe with a base hit.
That's a good start, and it brings the tying run to the plate. Nice job by Hott. Even if Park fields that cleanly, I don't know if he has time to get the speedy Hott, who was blazing up that line.
Well, here's Charlie Som. Walked in the 2nd, RBI single in the 4th, and officially a strikeout swinging in the 7th, but he was trying to bunt, and he pushed it down the first base line foul for the 3rd strike. Fouled off the fist, 0-1.
Guy you want to have up there. 2 home runs last game. We talked about 4 home runs on the season in just 28 at-bats.
No balls and 1 strike. Fastball low, 1-1. Brotherton in line for the win here today. Som waving the bat around. Here comes the 1-1. On the ground and through into right field for a base hit. Hott holds up at 2nd. And the tying run is on the base paths.
Here we go. We said things can get a little crazy in the bottom of the 9th, and Stanford putting the pressure on now.
Timo Becerra, the batter now for the Cardinal. In the meantime, David Esker has called over his base coaches to talk some things over. I'm not sure I've ever seen this before.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps discussing how they want to play this. The bunt is in play. Try and get the tying run into scoring position, or, I mean, you got a lot of options if you're the Cardinal.
So that's a new one for me anyway.
Number 2, Timo Becerra.
The assistant coaches on the same page with David Esker. And Timo Becerra at the plate. Becerra singled in the 7th. 1 for 3 overall tonight. Shows bunt. Fair ball back to Brotherton. Loops it over the first in time for the out. Everybody else moves up 90 feet.
Thought Brotherton might take a shot at one of the other bases, but I think a smart play to take the sure out. I mean, that's how innings can really spiral out of control if you try and get one of those lead runners and you don't. So you take the sure out.
Well, pinch hitter in for Trevor Haskins is Brandon Larson. Larson, a sophomore from Rockland, California, a transfer from UC San Diego. Larson with a pinch hit home run earlier this season, overall hitting .286 with 1 home run and 2 driven in. Intriguing to note, Stanford pinch hitters this year hitting .321 with a .462 on-base percentage. So Stanford's pinch hitters have performed very well so far this season.
Yeah, they've been very good, and that's obviously not easy to do. One of the toughest spots you can be in, coming in cold off the bench.
We have a new pitcher coming in for Washington State. We'll tell you about him in just a moment. Stanford down 3-1, bottom of the ninth, but the tying run is at second. And the go-ahead run, the game-winning run, is at the plate. More in just a moment. Runners at second and third with one out. Stanford down by 2 in the bottom of the ninth inning. And Washington State turning to Chase Grillo, redshirt senior from Kennewick, Washington, a transfer from Gonzaga. Grillo making his 13th appearance of the year, an 0-1 record and a 5.65 ERA. Has 4 saves so far this year. 14 in the third innings pitched, 11 hits, 10 runs, 9 of them earned. 24 strikeouts versus 9 walks. Opposing batters hitting .212 against Grillo, who has issued 3 wild pitches and hit a batter. Elsewhere around the Pac-12, it's gone final in Corvallis. Oregon State beat Arizona State 13-8. They needed extras in Berkeley, where Arizona beat Cal 5-3 in 10 innings. And USC over Washington 6-2. That's the final score down in Irvine. Meanwhile, Oregon is taking a 5-2 lead in the top of the 6th over UCLA down in Westwood. Saborn Campbell is now pinch running at second, replacing Charlie Somm. Back-to-back singles is how this bottom of the ninth began, by Hott and Somm. Hott's at third, Campbell at second. Both guys can fly. Brandon Larson at the plate. First pitch catches the outside corner, strike one.
Well, Grillo is a guy who can be a little wild. You talked about the wild pitches, the 9 walks and 14 in the third. But he's got swing and miss stuff. 24 strikeouts, almost 2 per inning.
Swing and a miss. Larson quickly down 0-2. Back on March 23rd against Arizona State, Grillo had a 5-pitch, 3-out save. How about that?
That'll get the job done. That's efficient.
The 0-2. Blocked by Morrow. Everyone stays put.
And again, if you're Washington State here, you don't care about Hott really at third base. The run that matters is Campbell at second, so that's why the infield is back. You'll absolutely trade that run for an out if you're the Cougars.
The 1-2 pitch from Grillo. Gets away from Morrow. Hott comes home, and he scores. Stanford within 1 with the tying run 90 feet away.
And now that I say that, the reason that run matters is because of what you just said. The tying run gets to move up to third with less than 2 outs. So that is a big wild pitch. And now the infield comes in for the Cougars.
Two balls, 2 strikes to Larson. And that hit him. Plunks him on the thigh. And now the winning run is on the base paths.
Well, this inning is spiraling a little bit for the Cougars here. As you said, the winning run now on base. And you've got Brady Reynolds up now, and on deck, the leadoff man, Owen Cobb, as the lineup close to flipping over for the Cardinal.
Cardinal trying to flip the lineup like Deion Sanders flips a roster. Hey, where'd they finish in the standings? Oh, they finished last. That's right. Oh, well. Champ Hampton is coming in to pinch run for Brandon Larson at first. So you've got Campbell at third and Hampton at first. Hampton, the freshman from Ooltewah, Tennessee. I should really get a pronunciation on that. I'll check with Champ later on. Champ, also a member of the Stanford football team. We saw them practicing earlier in this game. Brady Reynolds, looking for his first base hit of the day. Takes the first pitch high for ball one. Reynolds reached on an error, tried to head over to third with it, but was retired, thrown out at third on a terrific defensive play, a 9.65 putout by Max Hartman, Jack Wise, and Cole Kramer. That was back in the third. Also the fly ball deep to center. And he fouls this one off and loses his bat in the process. So the count goes to 1-1. Hit a deep shot to center field with 2 on. Runners at second and third in the bottom of the 7th inning, but that ball was caught 5 feet shy of the wall to end the mini threat for the Cardinal. At that point, it was a 1-1 game. Washington State with 2 in the top of the 8th, and they are clinging to the lead for dear life right now.
Infield has moved back now at double play depth.
Breaking ball started outside, stays outside. 2-1 to Reynolds.
Question here, well, one of them is, any chance Hampton runs from first, try and steal second? He might not even get a throw down with the tying run at third. But it is a little risky.
Launched way back, deep to right. Thank you, and good night. Brady Reynolds wins it for the Cardinal. And Stanford beats Washington State. The final score here tonight: Stanford 5, Washington State 3. Have a night, Brady Reynolds.
Oh.
Celebrate, young man. You've just given the Cardinal a much-needed win.
That Gatorade bath has to be freezing, but worth it. What a swing of the bat by Brady Reynolds, and what a spot to do it. You said it, Troy. Did they ever need that win? And for the Cardinal, 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. That's the kind of win that can build some momentum.
Brady Reynolds with his 2nd home run of the year. And this one wins it for the Cardinal tonight. 3 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors for Washington State. 5 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for Stanford. A game that appeared to be lost for the Cardinal in the top half of the 8th inning. A game that appeared to be going according to form for Stanford, unfortunately, and they've fallen into for much of the season with effective starting pitching, but defense and untimely hitting betraying them a bit. Washington State scoring twice in the top half of the 8th. All seemed a bit behind the 8 ball for the Cardinal. But then back-to-back singles to begin the bottom of the 9th for Ethan Hott and Charlie Somm. Brandon Larson pinch hitting, was hit by a pitch. And then Brady Reynolds sending Cardinal fans home happy with the walk-off shot to win it for the Cardinal, 5-3. Washington State falls to 16-12. They're now 6-7 in Pac-12 play. Stanford now 12-15, 5-5 in Pac-12 action, as they have won their first game after stopping a back-to-back losing trend, and they are in the win column here to begin game 1. Then just when you think you know how a game's going to go, this happens.
What a way to start a series, huh? I mean, we had a pitcher's duel. Neither starting pitcher giving up much of anything. Cardinal, as you said, falling behind in the late innings. How about this? Before tonight, Troy, Washington State, when they had a lead after 8 innings, they were 15-0 They're now 15-1, thanks to Brady Reynolds.
Brady Reynolds with the 3-run shot to decide it. And Ben Reimers, congratulations, my friend. You've got a win column in your stat for this one. Wow, Chase Grillo gets the loss. Well pitched between the starters. Grant Taylor went 6+, and Matt Scott just gave up 1 hit in 6 innings of work, and he didn't give up that 1 hit until the 6th inning. Wow, that was game 1. What's game 2 going to bring? Let's all find out together tomorrow afternoon at 2:05 p.m. when Stanford and Washington State meet once again. Can the Cardinal claim this series outright, or will the Cougs salvage a split to begin this series? Probables for tomorrow. Christian Lim, who's been lights out for Stanford of late, scheduled to get the ball for Stanford. Connor Wilford, scheduled to get the ball for Washington State. Well, this one ended up being a fun one. We're glad you stuck along for the ride with us for the entirety of it, or at the very least for the end of it. On behalf of our fantastic Stanford live stream crew and my broadcast partner, Ben Ross, I'm Troy Clarity. Final score, Cardinal win, walk-off style, 5-3 over Washington State. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and go Stanford.